Right, we are live. Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back to the Kiwi Lads channel. We are back for another match of the Nations Championship. It is an early start for Saturday. The All Blacks going head-to-head up against Italy. New Zealand getting themselves that narrow victory up against the French just last week. Whereas for the Italians, their Nations Championship didn't start in the fashion they were hoping for. A loss to the Japanese, looking to bounce back here. But it's going to be a big task. It's in Wellington, which is kind of at the moment the All Blacks bogey ground per se. They have lost quite a few games over the last 10 matches here, but the Italians, they have never beaten the All Blacks. So we'll wait to see if that is the same thing in about 2.5 hours time. But I hope you guys are all doing well. I hope you're excited for the International Day of Rugby. There is so much that has taken place. This game is the first of the Nations Championship. Then from there, jumping into Australia versus France. The Japanese going head-to-head up against the Irish. England versus Fiji, South Africa versus Scotland, and then then Argentina going up against the Welsh. Now, the thing is, the first round we had some really close down-to-the-wire type of fixtures. This round, with the exception of France versus Australia, is kind of expected to just be one-way traffic. I'm hoping that's not going to be the case, though. Hopefully one or two of these other games can bring us a bit more excitement as the matches progress. But yeah, Australia, France, definitely the game to watch out for this weekend in terms of closeness as well as the potential upset. But we have got a whole heap of people in the chat already. We have got All Blacks 13 plus. We have got Kia ora, Hamish, bro. How you doing? From Matthew. I hope you are doing well, Matthew. I am excited for this game. Looking forward to seeing what we are going to see from this Italian side, how they can bounce back after losing to Japan. It's quite interesting listening to their coach before this match got underway, because he straight away said they didn't have enough preparation for their game up against the Japanese. They were very late in terms of when they got together, and a lot of their guys hadn't played rugby in quite some time. He then made the comment that he's not going to be making excuses, but then he did list about 3 excuses as to why they might lose this game. He said about how it's a long flight from Tokyo, whereas New Zealand, of course, only had to go up to the other island. He said they've only had 2 training sessions this week, so I don't know what to expect from this Italian side, but when you hear that from the coach, it makes you a little bit concerned at the fact that maybe they don't feel like they are prepared enough for this Wellington test. And the weather is brutal, by the way. I think it's a relatively chilly day up north. Over there, Kia ora, Hamish from far north Queensland. Go the All Blacks, says Real Ando. Expecting more from Italy, says Salah. I hope Japan beat Ireland, says Matthew. And New Zealand easy money, says Slow GT. And also, you think this is the day Will Jordan will break Doug Howlett's record? I think he'll have a pretty decent chance. Now, last time they played up against New Zealand, Will Jordan was able to score the try against Italy. Same with Cam Roigard, both men getting doubles just last week. But there's also that game that happened prior, and that was at the Rugby World Cup where New Zealand were able to beat them. I think it was about 93-17 or 96-17. Mind games from the Italian coach. I hope it's mind games, because, yeah, I've never heard a coach sound so unoptimistic about his side in a pre-match interview. Normally they say, yep, we're ready to go. The preparation went well. You know, we're fired up. We're looking to bounce back. But it didn't really sound like that. Instead, it sounded like, we weren't ready last week up against the Japanese. We're still not really ready, but we're hoping to do all right up against this New Zealand team. Do you think Beauden Barrett is done with the All Blacks? Probably not. I think we'll see him potentially in the lineup next week. Hi from Indonesia, says Michael. Welcome in. And I like this new format. It does give you something to look at, doesn't it, in terms of these sides. Got to see the 6 matches taking place just last week. What we will quickly do is we'll go like that. There we go. So these were the matches of round 1 in the Nations Championship. New Zealand able to get themselves the opening victory over the French, 34 points to 32. It was a bit of a last-minute thriller between those two sides. New Zealand having some strong moments, some slightly different tactics than what we were used to seeing under the Scott Robertson era. And it seemed like a good step in the right direction for this New Zealand side. The Japanese having a fantastic win over the Italians. A lot of people expecting Italy to get the victory, or at least it be quite close, but 17 points separating those two teams. The only downside for Japan of that victory was the fact they didn't receive the bonus point. And of course, those bonus points could be absolutely crucial as this competition does wear on. The Irish, they were able to get themselves the upset victory. Well, it wasn't really an upset. The only thing that made it upsetting was the fact that it was in Australia. Outside of that, though, Ireland did look very good on paper. Also came in as slight favourites heading into the matchup, but 33 points to 31, the victory for the men in green. Then from there, we saw Fiji versus Wales. That one was close for about 60 minutes or so. Then Fiji started to drop off a little bit, in the end defeated by the 15 points. South Africa versus England, that one started with a hiss and a roar. We saw some massive points getting put on the board by the Springboks. The yellow card slowed down their momentum. It started a bit of an English fight back, but then in the second half, it was one-way traffic. South Africa winning that game by the 24. And then Argentina versus Scotland, the highest scoring game of the weekend. Scotland scoring the most points out of anyone over the weekend also. And you could argue that Argentina scored the most of the losers. They had to try and beat 32. And they were able to do just that. It was a back and forth game, a nice way to finish off the Nations Championship round. Of course, the Argentines, they will be playing the last match again, although this time they're going head-to-head up against the Welsh rather than the Scottish. We have got there, I don't like the new format. Why does it not surprise me, Kiwi Rob? Because it's like a mini World Cup. You can win all your games, still not make the final. Says Kiwi Rob. Yeah, so you're kind of competing against your own southern or northern hemisphere, aren't you? And I guess it's no different in a way to, I want to say, like the Champions Cup format, because you have, 3 or 4 group stage fixes, or actually it might be more than that. It's 4 or 5, but you don't get to play teams that are in your same grouping. So you can have 2 sides, I believe, undefeated at the end of it, the way that the draw works. As long as we get the W over England, says Ratamus there. And yes, Segner going to be making his way off of the bench in his debut match for New Zealand. Also off the bench on debut is Josh Morby, man who has scored very many tries, 17 to be exact, throughout Super Rugby Pacific. He has the potential debut off the bench. By the way, it's not just cold in Wellington. At the moment, it's also raining. I've just seen a little bit of rain as Morby is warming up. I'm back, bro. Says Xavier, welcome back. I got All Blacks win by 13 plus. Says Baked Clips, and so glad the All Blacks playing at 5 p.m. instead of 7, despite being 2 hours earlier. Don't mind this time, in my opinion, says Weck City. Yeah, it's probably something that, unless you're following closely in terms of throughout the week and whatnot, there will be people who come in at 7 o'clock and go, oh, I missed the game. What happened? Because, yeah, you don't normally get the early game on a Saturday. Definitely not for the All Blacks. But I think it just worked out that way due to, well, with the exception of that first round overlap between Japan and Italy, as well as, well, they actually overlap with a lot of teams. I'm glad that they don't overlap this week. Although, ironically, we're not covering that game of Japan versus Italy. Japan versus Ireland. That's our one little break before jumping straight back in to 3 more matches. And we have got there, can't wait for Segner to debut. And what's your thoughts on the South African boy juicing? Well, you shouldn't take steroids and whatnot. Now, of course, it's still the case of, I think he's doing like a follow-up and whatnot. So, like, he's not the first player who's going to get pinged. He's not going to be the last. People are really trying to hone in on the narrative that it's only South Africa. But, you know, New Zealand's had their fair share in the past. We've seen England have their problems. I don't want to list every country because I feel like that just annoys more people. But, like, yeah, at the end of the day, you're not going to get away with it for that long. Someone's going to catch you at some point and, you know, you move on. We have got Wide Bowden Barrett, not the captain. He was playing for All Blacks for decades. Well, he's not playing in this lineup, so that probably explains it a bit. Artie Savi has got a close connection with Dave Rennie from the Japanese top league too. We have got there, hey fellas, how's life in the fast lane, says Big Rig. I'll be honest, this week's been a bit of a weird one. Because that first round of the Nations Championship, I think we got absolutely spoiled with the rugby. And now we're in this scenario where all of the games except for one are expected to be kind of one-sided. You know, all split by about that 15-point margin or so, which kind of sucks in a way. I want to see some close games, so I really hope we get 1 or 2 throughout this weekend. But there is also the chance that we watch a lot of games that are secured by halftime, and it's just more of a technicality to get through the second 40 up the AB, says Josiah. We have got there, has Italy ever beaten New Zealand? They have not. They are the one side inside of about the top 10 that Italy have never beaten. They've been close a few times in the past, but yeah, I definitely think that this is going to be an intriguing one. See whether or not they've got that fight in them for this Wellingtonian test. However, we can reduce their testing. Personally, I think it's suspect. Says Xavier. I mean, yeah, but yeah, it's one of those rabbit holes that you can go down and people will fire back and forth with all their statistics and all of their things, but at the end of the day, like, World Rugby still have to do some testing, don't they? And just don't do the drugs. It's easier. We have got the ABs are going to put 100 on Italy, says Ange. And we have got there, what do you think of the AB side and why is Rennie not playing Bowden? I think that Bowden's being maybe safe at Eden Park due to his experience up against the Irish, as well as the fact that he normally plays at Eden Park anyway. But we could also see it as Bowden Barrett's just in the environment. Playing a little bit of a veteran role to someone like a Ruben Love. It's not so much what they sometimes do on the field, some of those older players, it's what they can do off the field. It's always talked about for someone like a Sam Cane, how much he offered at the Chiefs for the younger players, off of the 80 minutes of play. How long till the game starts? Isn't it still like 3 hours away? No. It's an early kickoff, Mega Dollop, for today. It is kicking off in 29 minutes' time. It is a 5:10 kickoff for today, which is something that has confused quite a few people. But, yeah, early kickoff. The game at 7:40 is going to be Australia versus France. So we've got a bit of a reshuffle in times compared to what we saw last week. We have got there what games on Saturday night. We're not going bed early because Rachel getting on Sunday morning at St. Paul's Church in the park because she's not, says Rachel. So the games that we've got on today, I will just show you a little update thing. There we go. So these are the matches that we've got on today. New Zealand versus Italy starting at 5:10 p.m. These are all in New Zealand time, by the way. So if you're in South Africa, that would be a 7:10 a.m. kickoff. There will be a lot of South Africans waking up expecting to watch an All Blacks test live in a couple hours to find out that the game is already finished. Australia versus France, that one's kicking off earlier than we did see last week when it was about the 10, I want to say, or 9:40 kickoff, I think was what they were targeting for that Australian game. Or it might have even been 10 p.m. when that one was happening. Japan versus Ireland. That one's going to be kicking off 2 hours 30 after. Then from there is a 3-hour break before Fiji play up against the English. Then South Africa versus Scotland. That's the same time South Africa played last week. And then Argentina playing at the same time up against the Welsh. That is at 7:10 a.m. But yeah, there will be a lot of people thrown off by the fact that it's an early game. I'm on Sunny Coast. I thought it was going to be 5 p.m. over here, 7 in New Zealand. Says Mega Dollop. So no, a very early start for this matchup for the Saturday night fixture. To be fair, with the way that the weather is, it's probably not a bad option either. It's supposed to get very cold. It is currently raining and probably a bit of wind in Wellington is a fair assumption. That is New Zealand's time, bro, says Xavier. It's what I said, I'm pretty sure. I said it was all in New Zealand time. So if you were in South Africa, that would be 7:10, like I mentioned. We have got there France to beat Australia by 14. Oh, so you go on the Aussies to lose a little bit. Well, to be fair, they did lose last week, though, didn't they? Good morning, how's it, Amish? It's Rassi's 100 game today, says Mohaddin, so that's very exciting. For Rassi, of course, we have there Kia ora New Zealand. Let's go All Blacks. Stick it to them. Great hosting. As usual, my man says Tomo Thompson. Thank you very much. Yeah, this game's getting closer. 26 or so minutes away. We've still got to look through at the lineups that have been selected. There are multiple changes on Dave Rennie's side compared to what we did see just last week in the match against France. Maybe not quite as many changes as some were anticipating. Certain players keeping their spot. And that was down to Neil Barnes in the week, just pretty much saying some guys will be rewarded with their form, with others keeping their spot, or a little bit of rotation involved in the mix too. We have there, I always add 12 hours, says Xavier. 12 hours. So you must be in the UK, are you, Xavier, in that case, or somewhere around there that does have that 12-hour time difference. I know South Africa, compared to New Zealand, have the 10-hour difference. We have got there, I'm calling this game the halftime show. The big game is next week, says Jasmine. And are they going to curse the game going to end in Wellington? Weirder things have happened in Wellington, and I think many people know this already. The record for the All Blacks, I mean, their most recent game there was up against South Africa. That one did not go well for the Kiwis. They've lost to Argentina at this location. They've lost to Ireland here. There's been a few. No, Namibia, like the same as South Africa, says Xavier. Wait, so what time is it in the... Wait, time in South Africa. Wait, so you add 12 hours, even though that would be 2 hours off, Xavier. Because currently in South Africa, it's 6:45 a.m. And currently here in New Zealand, it's 4:45. So yeah, you'd end up with your 2 hours off in terms of your timing. How do you feel about the Artie Savia not playing all the games in South Africa? I haven't seen anything about it yet, to be honest. Like, is he I'd assume that they're not going to play him every single test match or every single match up against the Stormers and everyone. Though we'll have to try and manage his minutes quite a bit. We have a few Wellington combinations in the team. Says Wade. Yeah, there potentially could have been one or two more Wellington players in the mix. We see no Peter Larkai for this game after what was a very strong game last week up against the French. We see no Josh Morby for the starting lineup, but he does get the chance to make his way off the reserves. And then also Fihi Fidianofo missing from this contest after getting his debut last week. I think that at the moment it's just about giving everyone an opportunity in this game, as well as potentially at Eden Park next week too. Good morning to my All Blacks family. And all the way from South Africa. Says Apollos, and also I get up 2 hours before the game starts. Is that to like mentally prepare for it maybe? And get raring to go. Oh, Damien McKenzie throwing a bit of an NFL style pass there in the warm-ups. Are you going to watch any of the final 6 of the FIFA World Cup this week? Are you just in a rugby mood? Final 6. Where'd the other 2 teams go? I guess you're probably counting the game that's already happened, right? We have you there, Geordie, to tie or break the record tonight. Jordan to break it. I'm going to say no. I think that he'll definitely get himself a try, Will Jordan. He seems about as safe as it can be. But I just feel like we're going to see maybe a lot more tries. And then maybe... Yeah, I don't know. I feel like we're going to see a lot of tries from the backs, but maybe Will Jordan only gets 1 or 2. I think he might be able to kind of get very close. Jacket and tie, Hamish says Cisco. What I've learned is that the games seem to be a lot closer when I don't wear the jacket and tie, although saying that these games are supposed to be pretty one-sided for this round. But yeah, it's also just more of a comfort thing, really. I normally get stick for wearing the jacket. I get stick for wearing the tie. I get stick for wearing the dress shirt, so I might as well just wear whatever makes me slightly less stuck, because at least I can kind of move around in this without being locked in position for 9 hours. We have got there who cares about the soccer. Many people. I think it's the biggest sport in the world, is it not? I have a lighter. Matches are too expensive. Too brittle and hi Hamish, says Willow there. Tell you what, I have a lighter as a unique way to start a sentence. I'll give you that. We have got there, hi Hamish, you look sleepy already. Are you well? Says Liza, I am quite well. That I know of anyway. I did have to sleep till the early stages of the afternoon for the sake of trying to get ready to do the all-nighter. We're staying up until 9:30 a.m. tomorrow morning. So there's a little while to go. We have there, Jordan gets the record debutants to score, says Mark Payne. Also, in that case, you're going with a really high-scoring matchup up against the Italians here. I know we'll beat the Box. Hopefully we go uninjured, says Xavier. And also, we have there, I'm going 40 to the ABs, Italy 25. And I from Perth, says Paul, welcome in. But we will go through these starting lineups, ladies and gentlemen. I apologise for all the messages that I have already missed. It is flying very high. I can't, Hamish, keep the standards? No, I feel like I kept the standards for a very long time, and now I prefer just being able to sit here with a bit of happiness as well. Because yeah, that blazer just does not fit. So I'm pretty much, I sit here like this for all the hours, can't move, can't lean or anything. And when you're doing it for 11 hours straight, you kind of get sick of sitting in one place without being able to kind of curve your spine. We have got there, I've had a rather long time. For all the All Blacks, says Blondie NZ, Italy by 20. Okay, so Italy not only in that case would beat the All Blacks for the first time ever, but they would also beat them by 20 points. I feel like even Italy by 1 is a bold prediction, but Italy by 20, when their coach before the game has said, we don't seem prepared for this matchup, I like it. I like the confidence. We have got there, why doesn't Smith call up Foley? He's a pretty good kicker. Says Katana. How old is Bernard Foley, by the way? He's getting up there in terms of the age department. But soon Les Kiss is going to be the man in charge. And we'll wait to see whether or not he starts making those big changes. AB's by 60 plus. Says Matthew there. We're looking through at this All Black starting lineup. Starting in the front row, it is Ethan de Groot, Cody Taylor, and Tyrell Lomax. So just the one change compared to what we did see just last week. Fletcher Null out of this team and also not actually featuring off of the bench in this game as well. Sam Derry moves to number 4 after playing 5 last week with Tupou Vai slotting in as the number 5. He was absent from the matchup up against the French due to that head knock that he suffered in the Super Rugby final. Now rearing to go. Played a little bit of 6 last year under Scott Robertson, but it seems like 5 is the preferred position that they're looking at for him in this game. In the loose forward trio, we see the change at number 6 with Wallace Satiti straight swapping in for Peter Lakai. Luke Jacobson, after his game last week, keeps the spot at 7, and Artie Savia then slots in as the captain. And the number 8, Cam Roigard and Ruben Love will again be that 9 and 10 combination for this contest. It did work last week at times up against the French, and I feel like it is one of those combos that will slowly build, get stronger and stronger. Leroy Carter, he was probably the surprise of the lineup. Many thought with this game being in Wellington that they would just chuck Fihi Whirianofo out there on the left wing, but instead Carter comes in for his first All Blacks minutes of 2026. Geordie Barrett and Billy Proctor as the midfield, so Tupaia out with Proctor coming in. Will Jordan stays on the right wing, and Damian McKenzie, he is there as the number 15. We have got High Hamish from the Philippines. Says, Hammock, welcome in. Bernard Foley is 34 or 36. The numbers there. I've never really rated Fletcher as All Blacks quality. Says Xavier, well, he's definitely a handy scrummager, and his ball running has actually come a long way over the last couple of years, but it does seem like a lot of people look towards Lomax, and maybe in the future they're looking at Tossi as another guy who can get the job done. To be fair to Italy, that Japanese team had some very high-quality foreign players within it, and Italy, I probably took them too lightly, says Hartley. Yeah, the coach pretty much said, we didn't travel early enough. Our team hadn't played multiple of their guys. He said they haven't been in action for about 6 weeks, so they were underprepared. They only had a couple training sessions throughout the week. So, yeah, he had a lot of reasons as to why they didn't do well. He then said afterwards, not making excuses, which slightly cancelled out what he said beforehand. But, yeah, he said in this game, they're feeling better. They're feeling a little bit more prepared. He said it was a long flight from Japan, so that's taken its toll on the players a bit. Plus, they've only had 2 training sessions this week. So, yeah, he said no excuses, but they're hoping they do all right. Do you think Nathan Cleary will head to Union after that performance? Probably not. I think that Cleary's probably pretty happy to get a Rugby World Cup under his sleeve, but from Rugby League rather than the Rugby Union. Maybe he could make the switch, but it's a really late time to do it now. There will be a couple Rugby League guys who eye themselves up for that 2027 one. And we have you there, all the excuses from Italy losing against Japan, says Matthew, and good morning here from Germany. There's going to be a good test for the Italian, says Piet. And Ren's mentioned Artie may being rested in South Africa. The presser during the week probably meant the midweeks, not the test. Probably, but the media will well and truly spin that and try and make it into a big narrative that Savi is going to be a part-time captain, and that there's, all these extra headlines that they're finding at the moment. Why can't Asafa Moore get a look? And he's been the best hooker this season. In my lineup, I think I went Asafa Moore starting Samasoni Taukiaho off of the bench. I feel like that would have gone all right here. I like the fact that Taukiaho's getting an opportunity, but Asafa Moore in a game up against this Italian team maybe wouldn't have been a bad option. Thanks for always giving your thoughts on our text, Hamish, says Xavier. And also, Rennie said having D-Mac and Jordan means having 2 world-class fullbacks on the field, says Jay. So, yeah, they've certainly got that versatility on offer. In terms of this Italian lineup, just before we jump straight back into a little bit of the preview, Daniele Fischetti is playing number 1, Di Bartolomeo at 2, and Marco Riccioni starting in at 3, Niccolo Canoni and Andrea Zambonin as the number 5 with Ross Vincent, Mikel Lamaro and Lorenzo Canoni starting in. As the number 8, Stephen Varney, alongside Paolo Garbisi. Lewis Liner out on the left wing. Now, they haven't got Monty Ioane for this series. Also, no Ange Capuzio. In terms of this lineup, Tommaso Manoncello and Juan Inesio Brixo make up a very dangerous midfield combination. Malik Faisal out on the right and Tommaso Allen at number 15. Why is Cheslin Colby not playing? Because Rassi likes to rotate. And it's one of those matches up against the Scottish where he is showing that depth that they have got on offer. They've got 10 changes across the starting lineup. If you notice, Japan didn't do kicking battles or box kicks. Italy didn't seem to only be prepared for that. If I noticed, New Zealand's coaches did. Asafa Moore was the best hooker in Super Comp, says Hartley. Yeah, it was definitely up for grabs between him and Samasoni Taukiaho. Cody Taylor, based off hookers around the world, though, last year at International Rugby, was one of, if not the best. So you can understand why they're still giving him the chance in these July internationals. But if you're basing it off form, yeah, Moore and Taukiaho both in some incredible nick currently, looking to show what they can do at international level as well. Taukiaho, what did he get? 13 tries throughout the season or something along those lines. Not familiar with the Italians. who's one to watch. So I would say that Lewis Liner is always a good watch at this stage in terms of this Italian team. I like watching the Canoni brothers in action. Lorenzo off the back of a scrum. He will be going head-to-head with Artie Savia here, so that will certainly be a nice one to watch throughout the 80 minutes. I hope they both play 80 minutes anyway. And then Polo Garbisi alongside Allen. The control that those two will offer from the 10 and 15 jersey is absolutely vital. And while I'm at it, I've listed about 10 players, but we might as well list another one. Tommaso Manoncello, one of the bright young prospects of all international rugby, not just the Italians. He'll be looking to bounce back after not quite his best performance last week. In Japan, 10 minutes till kickoff. We have got about 15 or about 14 minutes till this game does get underway. So yeah, getting very close. We're not a mile away from the national anthems being sung. And then we are ready to go. Are you doing the under-20 semi-final Monday? Hoping to. At this stage, who are you bringing Segner on for? I think that Segner can be a straight swap for Wallace Satiti, or you can put him in for Luke Jacobson. I would say one of those two. I don't want to see too much reshuffling from New Zealand, as sometimes that seems to get them in a bit of trouble. And that's one of the reasons why I believe Peter Larkai was just a straight swap last week for Wallace Satiti. It was to keep it simplistic, keep everyone else knowing where they were supposed to be at all times. The stadium is filling up in in Wellington at the moment. There was a bit of rain around earlier. There's a little bit of wind, as there always is in Wellington, but it is pretty cold at the moment. We have got there, why is the name blurry? Which name are you talking? Mohadina might be your quality, maybe, that is struggling. We have got their World Cup is next year. This is the time to experiment, says Big Rig. And we have got there, how old is George Bower? He's about 30, I want to say 33 for Bower's age. 1 second. We'll go like that. George Bower, 34. He turned 34 in May. So I wasn't a mile off, but he's had a birthday since I last looked up his age. We have got there, speaking of shuffling, I was moving Satiti to 8. There's the AR underdog. Yeah, see, I did a little bit of chopping and changing on my side as well earlier on in the week. I decided that it would have been interesting to see Larkai at 8, but I can understand why they're sticking with Savia there. It's a long year, though, for the All Blacks. We're just going to show you some of the matches that are taking place for the Kiwis in terms of their schedule, right? They have got, wait a minute, we'll go here first. Right, this is actually only now 4 weeks away, ladies and gentlemen, for the Stormers versus New Zealand matchup. Then from there, they've got the Sharks, the Bulls, the first test up against the Box, then the Lions, 3 more tests up against South Africa. That would be a pretty hectic calendar year if you consider the fact that they've got the November internationals included there too. But there's even more for New Zealand. And the other matches, they've got the 2 matches of the Bledisloe Cup. They have got Scotland, Wales, and England in November, and they've still got another game next week where they go head-to-head up against the Irish at Eden Park. So it's going to be a busy old time for New Zealand throughout this season, but it is what Dave Rennie needs heading into the Rugby World Cup, having time to prepare, working out combinations. Going to be intriguing. See what happens next. We have got there 4 more guys yet to play too, if I'm not mistaken. So they would be Bowden Barrett. Who else have you got in the haven't played yet category? I think most of the forwards have, because George Bower's in the lineup this week. As Tamaiti injured, I have not heard him for a while. So yeah, injured spine, I think it was. So he ended up having surgery. But he's still a little way away. Someone asked about the weather as well. 5 degrees Celsius, passing showers, and 18 kilometres of wind, which is actually pretty mild for a Wellington evening. And we have got the hours of Hamish. Let's go. The AB says chill. And welcome back. What's your prediction for today? South Africa versus Scotland. A Bulls game for the All Blacks going to be tough, says Roy. So my prediction for South Africa-Scotland was South Africa by 15. And then for this game, I went real high scoring. I said 65-15 in favour of New Zealand. But it looks like there's going to be a few one-sided games. I hope that this one, if it does become one-sided, only becomes one-sided later in the contest. Preston Tips, although Tupai has played, hasn't he? He played in that first match as the number 13. So yeah, Kyle Preston. You've got, who was the other one that I just said? Tui Pilotu. Oh, sorry, that'll be Tui Pilotu rather than Tupai, my bad. Parker as the other one. We have there, who's the ref? I'm not actually too sure as of yet. How do you rate Paul Lavillius? Looks like a bright talent. I saw him for the Stormers throughout the URC season. Turnover machine. Can end up off his feet a lot in the breakdown, but often doesn't get pinged for it, which is great news because then, of course, you can avoid that penalty a bit more. 5 degrees, 15 degrees in Melbourne, says Jay. And there as well. But 10 minutes away from the kickoff of this contest, ladies and gentlemen. Do let me know your score predictions if you haven't already. Should be a good game between these two sides. Hopefully closer than it seems. The Italians, they have to be fired up. And I mentioned in my preview, they have to go and pretty much fire straight from the first whistle of this game. Because if they allow the All Blacks to get a quick fire start, they won't be able to find a way back. They mentioned about such a good Six Nations for the Italians. And then last week, just fell that little bit flat, unfortunately, for them. 1 second, we'll go like this. We'll go like that as well. They are just talking about the improvement that they need to see from the Italians. 30 seconds for the All Blacks to come out. Says Kiwi Robin going to be tight. Says Tino Tender. The Nations Championship currently wide open. And I'm in Johannesburg. My son just sent me photos from Wellington. He is at the rugby. Says Rag. Yeah, it looks like it's a chilly enough evening, so hopefully he's rugged up warm. And this game should certainly be able to bring the heat in terms of the speed that both of these sides do like to play at. Italy sometimes get fallen into a category of kicking, but they actually have a very strong attack when their backline's functioning. It's quite a smooth one. When you come to Australia like the rest of New Zealand, says Jay, maybe next year, but not for the World Cup. I think for the early stages of the year. We have got there Kyle Preston versus Cortez Ratma. Who do you prefer? Says Katana Breezy. I think, for me, I quite like Preston in terms of what he's able to do, but I also still can acknowledge the fact that Ratma has had some very good times in Super Rugby. He hasn't found his international feet as of yet, but it's very hard to when you've got a guy named Cam Roigard, who everyone talks about every single game. So, like, for Ratma, even if he does one thing wrong, people are going to absolutely destroy him for that one thing. If that makes sense. So, yeah, it's a tricky position to be in, and it's definitely one that I wouldn't want to be in as an up-and-coming halfback, because all throughout your career, you're going to hear, oh, but you're not Cam Roigard, so unlucky. Maybe, stick to the bench. So, yeah. He'll either bounce back, he'll either run into it head-on and continue to improve, or we will see someone else go into that role. And said, I doubt Italian will score any points. Nah, they're going to get some. Even in that game that they lost to New Zealand, 96 points to 17, they scored a couple tries along the way. Lots of Tommaso's, and Italy is a very unpredictable team. That is absolutely right. And I wonder you didn't go to the game in Wellington, Hamish. It's in a different island of New Zealand for a start. Plus, I wouldn't be able to get back to cover the next game in time. Okay, my friend, enjoy the game. Here's how exciting, says Jay. Ruben loves game tonight to make his mark, says Mark. Well, he did do extremely well at this stadium only 3 weeks ago, up against the Chiefs, who are now on his team. Some of those guys like a Damian McKenzie, like a Luke Jacobson. It's a TT getting the start for the first time in 2026. He made his way off the bench last week. I have to say, this man playing in July is absolutely incredible after what happened at the end of his Super Rugby Pacific season with that nasty head knock. We have got there the 96 point game is solid defence. Says our underdog. The only Ratma is playing this weekend. Said to give him more game time because he only had 5 minutes last weekend. Says Matthew. And also, you're watching the last few seconds. They will block the screen. They did the first game, says Billy. You watched in the last few seconds. As in, like me, Billy. We've never shown a second of match footage on the channel, so I'm not sure. Well, I assume you're talking about like the other channels that try and get you to sign up for their free links and then they scam you. Are they the ones you're talking about? Greetings, Hamish. Jack and Nepal here. Thanks as always for doing this, says Jack. And All Blacks 35 to the Italian 12. As for Rata, it's very hard to find your feet. You don't get game time. Exactly right. They are singing the Italian national anthem for this contest. Looking through at the Italian starting side, it is Daniele Fischetti, Tommaso Di Bartolomeo as 2, and Marco Riccioni starting in as the number 3. Niccolo Canoni and Andrea Zambonin make up the 2 locks. Then Ross Vincent, Miguel Lamaro, and Lorenzo Canoni as the loose forward trio. Stephen Varney with Paolo Garbisi in the 9 and 10. Lewis Liner out on the left wing. And then on the midfield side of things, Tommaso Manoncello and Juan Inicio Brex, 2 very handy players. And I think that is somewhere that they have to be really strong. Not just defensively, but also on the attack. Yema Bro says Billy the Kid. And also I want to see the All Blacks defend better than last week. And yeah, they will definitely be hoping to go and stop any sort of Italian onslaught throughout this contest. Malik Faisal gets the chance out on the right, and Tommaso Allen at number 15. Does Segner get a try on debut? I'll say no. First of all, he's just going to get a decent amount of time out there on the field. Like, more than a 5-minute at the end of this game type of debut. Give him a full 30 or so minutes, second half. Show you what he can do at international level. Because I actually think that Segner, based on Super Rugby form, if he has a big outing here up against the Italians, he could actually find himself in the equation for that Eden Park Test match too in front of the home crowd. Have you considered doing mainstream commentary at live AB's games? Not really, to be honest. It sounds really weird to say, but I think what makes this a lot of fun is the fact that we have the chat running as well, whereas if I was just talking about the game, I don't think I'd enjoy it anywhere near as much. And beautiful singing of the Italian anthem, says Nutter Boy. And morning home is 6 a.m. in the UK. Is it a sellout in Wellington? I think it was supposed to be. By the looks of it, the seats have all filled up, even with the weather being a little bit chilly. People have brought their jackets. They've brought their support for this New Zealand side. And thanks for your service, mate. Always tuning in Wellington, living in Gloucester in the UK. And we have got there'd certainly be less food talk, says Big Rig. Yeah, I think that the other commentators would probably get sick of me talking about food. I think it's the Cape Town gone cold today, has it? Well, 5 degrees Celsius is definitely a little bit more chillier than they would have liked. But this game, it's unpredictable. I have no idea what to expect for this game, ladies and gentlemen. New Zealand are either going to come out with a hiss and a roar like they did in 2023 and really make a statement in this victory, or we're going to see the Italians show much more fight than they had last week up against the Japanese. Why did they change the start times? I specifically went to the gym at this time so that I can watch the game after, says LB. Yeah, well, if it makes you feel better, this has been the start time since these games were announced. But yeah, there are changes in the start time. Japan versus Ireland has also taken place at a different time, same as Australia versus France. So it's just the earlier games, particularly so that they don't have as many overlaps as they had last week. Love your updates and commentary on holiday in Australia listening to you, says Richard. So hopefully you are enjoying your holiday, but New Zealand have just sung the national anthem. Then we are into the haka and then starting for this matchup. Just quickly through at that New Zealand starting lineup. All Blacks front row of Ethan de Groot, Cody Taylor and Tyrell Lomax comes in for Fletcher Null. Tupavai makes his return at 5. Sam Derry shifts into the number 4 jersey. Satiti, Luke Jacobson and Savia, they are the loose forward trio. 9 and 10 combination, identical to what we saw up against the French last week, with Cam Roigard and Ruben Love to be the main contributors to this back line of the All Blacks. Leroy Carter comes in as a straight swap for Caleb Clark. Billy Proctor as the 13 rather than Quintupai, with Geordie Barrett as the number 12. Will Jordan 14 and Damian McKenzie at number 15. But keep an eye on Will Jordan. He is currently sitting 2 tries away from Doug Howlett's record. He needs 2 more to tie it. A hat-trick here would get him the 50th try in an All Blacks kit at 7 a.m. in South Africa. Says given nothing more than a 50-plus win, I'll be acceptable. All Blacks 69 points victory. Hello, Hamish, and the rest of the peeps. Says Sock. And also tuning in while at work in Perth. Let's go the All Blacks, says Apt. And also D-Mac is going to have an absolute blinder, says Roy. Yeah, a lot of people were impressed with what he was able to do last weekend up against France. I know defensively he got targeted a little bit, but that was down to that counter-attack that we saw from France time and time again. They are quick when they get it going. Listening from the Philippines, says Napinta's there. And come on, Jordan, you can do it, says Matthew. And yeah, if he doesn't do it this week, we're probably going to see him do it at Eden Park, to be fair. He has got a very high strike rate. The All Blacks currently are doing the haka. Anyone who hasn't already, let us know what you think the score will be and who you think will come out and score the first try of this contest. I feel like quite a few people will probably say Will Jordan. Cam Roigard, definitely a shout as well with what he was able to do last week with his 2 tries in quick succession. Good morning, come on Italy, says Jerron Adley. But the haka has been done. Nadi Savia, he is locked in at the moment, giving the Italians the stare down and also the throat slit at the front of the haka. Good morning, come on, Italy. And Leroy Carter, decent shout. That man will be determined to come out and have a big performance here. He actually finished his Super Rugby season quite nicely for the Chiefs. It was just the fact that he had those injuries throughout the regular season. Why don't you come to South Africa for the greatest rivalry? Says Dezo the King. There's probably quite a few reasons, but it's definitely a budget thing for one of them. Not a cheap trip to go on. But yeah, we're going to be covering it on the channel. I feel like, don't get me wrong, it's going to be a massive atmosphere. But at the same time, we've got to remember, if this is going to be a success with the Greatest Rivalry Tour, they're probably going to do it in New Zealand as well, which is a lot less when it comes to travel and everything along those lines. I want Will Jordan to get a try. He's my favourite, says Liam Rooster. Then the Haka had 30-plus points on it, says Johnny Forbes. But the keys to victory for New Zealand, they've got set-piece dominance, carry and clean, dominant collisions. Morning all, here we are again, hoping for a great day of rugby, says the Massa. Yeah, there are certainly plenty of matches that are taking place from the next one between Australia and France, Japan versus Ireland, Fiji versus England. That's been a bit of a rivalry match in recent years. South Africa versus Scotland. And then also to end out the day, it will be Argentina versus the Welsh. How's weather and conditions? 5 degrees Celsius, and it will get colder as this match progresses. Luke Ramos is the referee in charge of this game with Ben Whitehouse on the TMO, ladies and gents. And then Luke Pearce and Nick Berry as the assistant judges. But yeah, 5 degrees, 18 kilometres of wind, so a little bit, but not a massive amount. You can see some yellow seats empty. They're probably either getting food or going to the toilet, but I think this game was sold out for quite some time. Just about raring to go. There is the 5-second countdown. Second round of the Nations Championship is now underway in Italy. Kick it off. They are wearing the white with the blue shorts. New Zealand wearing their classic black as Tupovai takes the ball just outside of New Zealand's 22, and it becomes a rolling maul from the get-go. Taylor with the ball situated at the back as they start to make a few metres here to New Zealand. This maul has made about 15. Told to use it once by Luke Ramos. And now Roigard looking away to his left-hand side. Sam Derry, the first receiver to play last week up against the French, and actually had a very solid game from the number 5 jersey. He's had a bit of a reshuffle with Lord making his way off the bench rather than starting, but the boot downfield from Cam Roigard, the swirling Wellington wing, making it difficult for Tommaso Allen, but he manages to regather the ball on his way down and sets it back now for the Italians. Wherever they were, let's go the All Blacks. And I hope the referee has a good game, says Liza, and Savia looks injured. Does he? Whereabouts is he? I'm looking round for him at the moment. This one's going to be kicked downfield from Garbisi. Yeah, Savia, it looks like he is down with a shoulder, I want to say that was, with whereabouts the medics were touching him, but a bit of early concern for the Kiwis there. Now, back across, Varney goes on to Paolo Garbisi. So currently New Zealand, they are defending with only the 14. Kicked him behind. Right, Savia's back up on his feet, and straight away it looks like he's going to be in the action, but the run forward from McKenzie slips over, bounces back up to his feet before being tackled by Canoni and Fischetti. Now Roigard passes him behind to Ruben Love, moves it on to Will Jordan, big collision with the captain of the Italians, Lamaro. Back across, Ruben Love moves it on to Geordie Barrett, trying to bulldoze his way through. Still going to be on the side of New Zealand. McKenzie goes to Savia, so if he is injured, that's certainly going to test him out with the run there. But isolated, Italy almost managing to get over the ball. In fact, they all but had the turnover. The referee gives away the penalty advantage instead. We have good need to debate the seats. Black says bloke. Now, Lomax. This must be quite a few phases here for New Zealand. They haven't got the phase count as of yet, but this feels like 10 or so in a row now. Short ball to Jordan. Does knock the ball on Italy with possession round the halfway line. Garbisi fires the wide cutout pass. Now to Tommaso Allen. No, it's Manoncello. Breaks the line. Man on his outside. Fires it into him. And now the ball back on the inside. New Zealand, just like last week, they've conceded early. And the Italians with the link-up play. Tommaso Manoncello is the man who manages to score it. Gets Avia off. This is not the game worth the risk, says Sock, and go, 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 says Willow Dance. But the Italians, early on, the drop ball from Will Jordan. And then from there, the Italians went with the counter-attack. And moving on the outside, beautiful fend from Manoncello. He is strong from that inside centre roll. We have you there, you got to be kidding again. It is, again, it was slightly slower than we saw the French score with Damien Penaud, but that is just a strong attacking run. And then Manoncello finishing it off. He deserved the try too with how he's done that one. And kia ora from sunny Sydney, says Hona. And we have you there, feels like scoring inside 5 minutes is becoming the norm of 2026. Well, actually, you're 100% correct. Throughout the Nations Championship round 1, I think the game that took the longest to have a first try, I can't remember what happened in the Argentina-Scotland one for how early there was a try in that one. But before that, every game had a try before 6 minutes. We're seeing the power game of Manoncello. A second half be better, says Glennie. And we have got the Capitals curses on, says in a light. And didn't expect that, says Matthew Proctor. Isn't test level, says Peanut Slab. Isn't it interesting how quickly people change their mind too? Because last week off the bench, he did something extremely well. That's nicely done by Geordie Barrett. And it actually led to the All Blacks scoring a try. And everyone was back on his side. But now as soon as he makes one mistake this game, everyone's back to bad-mouthing him. Going away to the left-hand side. Here comes Billy Proctor with a short ball to Damien McKenzie, joining the breakdown. Manoncello losing the footing. New Zealand will still win, says Big Rig. And there is going to be an advantage this time for Nicola Canoni being offside. Roy Gart, short ball to Jacobson. Got to start in this game after having a solid game from 7 last week. Proctor moves it on to Wallace Satiti. Trying to break through Faisal's tackle. Now Jacobson, another carry for the open side. Roy Gart off to Billy Proctor. Who's up to the 22-metre line. And come on, Will, says Glennie. That's embarrassing, says Nash Rad. I would love to see Italy win, says Jared. Well, they have never beaten the All Blacks, but Wellington is one of those places that New Zealand have lost multiple test matches to other sides. They keep booking in those tests, though, which is an interesting one. Ruben Love now selling the dummy short ball to Saditi. Leroy Carter breaks through two. Thought about the offload, but was well hung on to. Roy Gard looking off to the left. No, instead shifts it right to Groot. He's got that strapping on his head after some brutal shots that he did take last week. Roy Gard looking away left-hand side now where they do have numbers. Moves it on to McKenzie. Tries to flick it back on the inside. They'll go back for the initial advantage. And I put big money on ABs to win by the 41-50 margin, says the broski. And who scored the first try, mate, and how did it come about? So it was Tommaso Manoncello who managed to score it. It was the All Blacks moving it away to the right-hand side with Will Jordan then dropping the ball forward. They then went with the counter-attack, breaking through with a big fin from Tommaso Manoncello. Nice 1-2, and then scoring it close to the corner. I should mention the kick actually did go over too. It's actually 7-0 for the Italians now. We have you there. It's only 6 minutes in and people are saying embarrassing. Chill out, says over there. And thanks listening from Clarence, says Michael. But now line out here for New Zealand. After winning the penalty, they have opted for the corner. Defence coach must be fired. He's not doing his job, says Given. Well, a player misses a tackle, the opposition score. Off a beautiful 1-2. Sometimes, teams can score tries just based off actually being good. So I feel like, 6 minutes into the contest, you probably give them a little bit of leeway, don't you? But obviously people don't. People love going through the job interview stage of finding new coaches every single week. At this point in time, Geordie Barrett cleans up that ball. Still advantage in play for New Zealand. Roy Gard moves it across now to Wallace Satiti. Couldn't quite get through the low tackle of Zimmerman now on the short side. Big run forward from New Zealand. Pick and go from Savia, who has recovered from whatever injury he had earlier on in the fixture. Now moving back across, Tyrell Lomax. I've just said there that Lomax has never scored at international level. His propping teammate and Ethan de Groot almost managed to get over the line. Now Derry passes across to Tupovai. He tries to extend and again it's just short. Derry thinks he's scored it and he has got it down, Sam Derry. It's the All Blacks score their first of the contest. And the coach is fine. Players need to do his or her job. And well, there you go. Relax, everyone, says Irva. But Sam Derry, he wasn't on the try scorer's consideration in terms of the first one from New Zealand. Definitely not with the backline that they have got. Wherever they bring back Razor, says Metal God. Morning from Cape Town, says Michael. Welcome in. And just early entertainment, nothing to be concerned about, says Johnny Forbes there. And the score is now going to be 7-5. The kick to come for New Zealand. Derry must have just got that one over as he was pushed back into the field of play after the tackle was complete. Got a new member as well, Tommy Thompson. Thank you very much, mate. Greatly appreciated. And we have got there, try mean dairy, and how much advantage of the All Blacks ref is biased. Says Mitch, oh, he's moved, so he would have been able to have it charged down. Referee told the players not to charge it, though. And the kick has gone over from Ruben Love to make the score 7-all. Referee is all for the All Blacks. Says Mitch, I think that would have to almost be the earliest in a game we've seen the referee already considered biased, isn't it? You start streaming on Discord so you can show the game, bro. No, never mind. You must be getting paid now. Because I just watched an ad, says the broski. It's also illegal to do it on Discord. I've seen people go to prison for doing copyright through Discord servers. Because all it takes is one person to join, all kicked out on the full from the Italians. But yeah, one person who is of law enforcement or anything along those lines, and you're done. You get to go to prison for a little while. And finally, I'm going to member thanks back, says Tomo there. And the time at the moment, 9 minutes through this contest, 7-all between these two sides, but a big mistake made from Italy. Dave Rennie. Just showing him there on the far side. It looks like Dave Rennie, like with the camera angle, it makes it look like the guy in the middle is Rennie, but he is not. We have there, ref is always on the side of the winning team, never on the losing team side. And Jacobson needs to step up, says Floyd Kingy. And we have there, ref is here to help the ABs win. He's shown his card already, says Mitch. Okay. So what happens now then? If the referee's already showed his bias, what do? They just give up on the game, do they? Or do you just play the game anyway and adapt? That's a good word, adaption. That's not a word. Adapt is? No, adaption is a word. I think we learn it back in science. But yeah, you got to play to the ref. So if you already feel like the All Blacks are getting the advantage, Italy need to change their tactics so that they don't get penalised, so that they don't end up giving away stupid decisions that could cost them. It's Xavier off. Damien McKenzie, Guru, says Glennie, adaptive. Is that the word, is it? And we have got there, did you know that last year's All Blacks nicknamed Will Jordan? You're an excellent commentator, bro, says Iron Line. Thank you very much. I noticed Xavier isn't hitting any rucks. I think something is wrong. Well, he did have that early knock, so he's probably still trying to recover a little bit. And maybe stop it with the rules of life, bro, says the broski. Now, Roy Gart puts the scrum in on the halfway line, and free kick goes the way of New Zealand. Did we convert 7-7? They did indeed. Yes, Ruben Love was able to get it through. Now, nice run from Damien McKenzie, breaking the tackle with Juan Inacio Brex. Adaptation, says a Milo D-cake there. And are we sure that was a try? They didn't really check it too often, but referee saw it as a grounding. And TMO must have checked it afterwards, because normally if they check it with the TMO, no matter what the try is, and then they decide on that. So yeah, the referee must have seen the grounding, and TMO must have backed him up. Let's go, says Ryan. Now still on the side of New Zealand. No, penalty goes the way of the Italians. As Tommaso Manoncello manages to win it for his side and check Will Jordan in any backline and play game on. And we have the AB, says Josiah. I love the AB's tactics, more running, more will to throw the ball around instead of kicking all the time. Now Paulo Garbisi hasn't got a massive angle to work with, only 5 metres in from the touchline, but he is kicking off his left boot. Gets that little bit more ground. You see the replay there. It's really nicely done by Manoncello. Jumped straight in, kept the good solid base, and didn't even look like missing that ball. Bring on Anton. If Artie is injured, don't risk it for the biscuit. Yeah, see, I think that surely the medics are talking with Xavier a little bit here and trying to decide what the extent is of the injury. He's still, he's made a tackle there, Xavier, but he doesn't look comfortable. He looks like he's grimacing a little bit each and every time. Now kicked high by the Italians. Knock on from McKenzie. Left alone by Tupove as he didn't want to get pinged for accidental offside, but all that's done is put the Italians right on the front foot. Now moving it across to the left. Manoncello has had a tremendous start to this game. Barrett manages to rip it out of his hands, but it's ruled as the strip. Now the big man, Nicolò Canoni. All Blacks defence about to be tested here, as Italy do have a very snappy backline when they get it right. Here it comes, Tommaso Allen. Ball on the outside. It travels forward out to Faisal. They'll go back now for the scrum. We have got there Manoncello. And we have got there, he needs to come off. He's a liability if he is injured, says Hockey. They definitely need to consider the future in terms of this year. Minicello is frisky, says Willow. And also MG Get Him Off, says Lenny. And also we've got there Minicello and Brex are going to have another good year. Yeah, well, they were one of the best duos at internationals last season, I felt. And I know that Italy sometimes don't get a lot of credit for some of their better players. Looks like Cody Taylor's having a bit of a sprig issue at the moment. One of them is, oh no, in fact, it's more than one. One of them has fallen out, though. He's just getting that one replaced. As guys, what's New Zealand is so bad? I'd rather listen to this, says Ronnie. Well, it is greatly appreciated. Anyone who is new to the channel, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. We have got plenty more coming up in the near future. It's not happening, but if it happens, says Roberto. And also, where's your tie, says MK. The games seem to be better when I don't wear the tie. Plus, with another about 11 hours of commentary today, no tie means that like I can slightly breathe, which is quite nice. I do enjoy breathing. 14 minutes through this contest, though. All-time versus the Italians, New Zealand. Average 58.3 points per game. And Minicello with 2 E's says Gip there. And we have got, he needs to be rested for these easy beat game. I wouldn't call this an easy beat game, though, with the way that Italy have started. But they definitely need to continue with the aggression here. New Zealand, after scoring that try. And Italy making a mistake on the attack. You should ask them for a job. You might get it. I don't think I would. You're way better than the UK commentators. And the cello still makes music. And also Italy losing last week to Japan will make them more determined this week, says Stuart. I'd like to think so. Although the way that their coach before the game, free kick, goes the way of the Italians. Yeah, their coach before the game said it was an incredibly long flight from Japan. They only had 2 training sessions this week. And then he said no excuses, of course. But he said, yeah, it's gonna be challenging with the things that they've dealt with to get here. Yeah, that's the problem. Italy struggles to play a full game still. Currently in a good position on the field. Savia looking for the turnover and the breakdown. Wasn't able to get it 7 metres out. Roygaard and De Groot trying to drive them backwards here. Now Garbisi moves it on for Minicello. Garbisi again. Oh no, sorry, that was Avani this time. We've got Alessandro Garbisi making his way off of the bench in this contest alongside Leonardo Marin. It's a couple handy backs to have. Now Italy though, 10 metres out, loose ball. It's knocked backwards by Faisal into the hands of Tommaso Allen. All Blacks lightning quick in the breakdown. Proctor off his feet there. And the penalty awarded in favour of Italy. Hands on the floor call from the referee. Come on, Roygaard. I'm not going to lie, this doesn't look good for the All Blacks right now, says War Plunder. And no Ratama, no Umunga, no D-Mac. And man up on defence, AB says Josiah. Altitude can be a factor, as can humidity, and yeah, neither of those two things are a factor here. Or at least for this game. It's cold. It's definitely cold. There's no denying that. They're probably sitting at about 3 degrees Celsius at the moment. Looks like a bit of an injury here. One of the Italian forwards. It might be Riccioni. Currently just getting a bit of attention. Referee coming over. Checovia's going off. And why are they playing non-highlights? I assume you're talking about the Minicello highlights, right? He's had a few good highlights. To be fair to him. They didn't show his try. Oh no, now they're going to show the try though. That was a brilliant fend. In the end, it cannot write off any team at this level, cuz, says Tomo. And Damien McKenzie is an issue, says Lenny. So what has he done wrong so far this game that you feel he's been the main reason the All Blacks conceded? Now, nicely taken by Zimbunin. Now, passing it across, getting set down was Satiti. And now only a couple metres out. It's ruled as a tackle. That's an interesting one, because normally tackle needs to be called as a release. That's going to be a very hard one for the referee to actually judge. It seems like held up's the easy call. And it is going to be the goal line dropout. But yeah, 5 metres out from the line, the All Blacks, it was ruled as a tackle. So that's when their players had to release, which they did not. Italy, though, continued to crawl towards the line. So they also didn't really take it to ground. So yeah, this one's probably turned into the easy goal line dropout, because or else then it would have been really technical and annoying for the TMO. But Italy with the ball now, 35 metres out from the New Zealand line. Once again, some nice early possession here for the Italians. Cannoni straight at Derry once again. Oh, Someone got tempted there. I think that might have been Tyrell Lomax trying to slap it out of the hands of the Italian halfback, but did actually miss with the slap. Canoni passes across to the right. There's another advantage. And we have got there, come on, Will Jordan. Love and Royard, says Lenny. It's funny how people blame the coach if the team doesn't do well. I think it's down to the players, says Gip. But this one is an easy 3 for Italy if they want it. What the hell? This is bad. Says a lap there. Don't know whether or not you're talking about the game or the commentary. Probably a bit of both, maybe. But they have called for the kicking tee now, Italy. 3 penalties conceded by New Zealand in the early stages of this game. Italians certainly have come to play, says my name. And they have stepped up drastically. Yeah, they called it as the tackle initially. They're just showing the replay of it. But now, chance to add the 3 for Tommaso Allen. And Italians certainly have come to play. And also, bros, here's Mangle, one of the All Blacks. Jordan is a right wing, Morby is a fullback. That one has gone over. And that is now going to make the score 10 points to 7 in favour of Italy. Italy have shown up. They build decent pressure on attack. And they've got a really nice, quick, snappy backline too. That looked like a decent hot dog. Has anyone had the food at Sky Stadium? Because it looked all right just then. The hot chips looked good too. A good way to keep warm. Oh, free kick. A man in front on the kickoff. So it does mean that Italy now have got the option of the scrum or a re-kick, I think it is. But they are going to go for the, way out in front. Cody Taylor was offside by about 3 metres. What are we watching from the All Blacks? How can that drive be called held up? Says Sashbra, because it was called as a tackle first. So as soon as it was called as a tackle, the All Blacks had to release, but they weren't releasing because Italy was still making meters from the knees. So, in the end, it was like held up was the easy call because or else you probably could have pinged both sides once or twice for different penalties. I know my word says boy. But a really weird error that you don't normally see. Get Taylor off, says Matthew. At this rate, everyone's taking every player off of the field for the All Blacks. They're going to run out of teammates if they continue in this way. Now Stephen Varney. Put this ball in again. I could be watching the game, but I'd rather listen to Hamish commentate. It's just more exciting hearing the bro do his thing. Says Iron Line. That scrum is held strong on the halfway line. Ignacio breaks the short ball. Monticello, beautiful back line link up there. Stephen Varney fends off Carter. Proctor makes the crucial tackle. Ignacio breaks across to Canoni again. Driving tackle by Tupavai. All Blacks haven't had a huge amount of possession at this stage. Although, a big chance to be able to steal the ball there for Luke Jacobson. Referee tells him to get out. Garbisi moves it on now to Ignacio breaks. Varney, a little bit of a slip there. They're 40 metres out for the line currently, the Italians. Ethan de Groot is trying his best to be able to shut this one down a little bit, but Garbisi, bit of a handling error from Allen as he received the ball. Counter ruck from New Zealand. And another penalty. That is for New Zealand sweeping the ball back in the breakdown. That one goes against Wallace Satiti. Your commentary is always good. Got the tally on mute and you're on 10 seconds ahead of my live picture. Works great. It's like you can tell the future, said Rob Moore. Your other option too, though, Rob, if it does get annoying with me giving away the spoilers, is if you pause me on YouTube for let's say 9-8 seconds or so, and then re-click play, then it should almost be in sync. Why coach is changing or change the starting lineup constantly, being in today's positions were guaranteed to the team 15 and less injury. I think it just comes down to the amount of rugby that's now played these days, though. You can't really afford to play your 15 every single match. Definitely not with the All Blacks this year. They've got about 14 matches. You got to rotate. You got to test out your squad depth. Definitely with a Rugby World Cup around the corner. This is a nice backline from the Italians again. Tommaso Monticello, 3-man tackle on him, but they'll go back for the original advantage. Although this time it's in favour of New Zealand, I think. Or is it? Referee's just confirming with his touch judge. Sounds like New Zealand are getting the penalty. Oh, this is interesting. I think that Leroy Carter and Monticello are having a little bit of a conversation there. I think there might have been a bit of a late shot after the whistle. We have got there as a penalty kick for 3 points considered a try. Says username. I would say in the early stages it can feel like one, but later on in the game it's probably going to change. You know, this game I don't think will only be separated by 3 points. Okay. Warning at the line out for side stepping in. Cody Taylor about to throw this one in. Italy making some noise in the line out though. They've also closed the gap here. New Zealand is still not throwing the ball. It was a rough one in the end, but Jacobson takes it. They didn't even lift him there either. Now Leroy Carter to the halfway line. Offloads out to Roygaard. New Zealand numbers on the right-hand side, but Taylor decides to run it straight instead. Roygaard back across to Satiti. Big knock on from the blindside flanker, and on the halfway line, Italy will now have to scrum. Many mistakes with the ball in hand at the moment for this New Zealand side. And we have it there, Taylor and Jacobson off. Says Mark Painter, you're adding Satiti to that list, seeing as he just dropped the ball. And we have there Hardy to score the first try, says Marcelo. Hardy to score, as in like the first try that they score next, so their second, right? And Sky Sport New Zealand must have the cheapest satellite available. I get F1 TV. It's 100 times better, says Ronnie. And the Butterfingers says Matthew, currently possession, believe it or not, is actually in favour of New Zealand with 52%. I wouldn't have picked that. The amount of attack that we've seen from the Italians in the earlier stages of the matchup. Handling errors, 3 from New Zealand, 2 from Italy. 4 penalties conceded by New Zealand, 2 from the Italians. The scrum is now set. Ball is fed in. Now looking to the short side here with a nice run from Stephen Varney. Cutting back in Faisal. And he's shuffling through Savia at the moment as well as Satiti. Brilliant drive from the Italians to make 20 extra metres. They were begging for the penalty there, the Italians. And a knock on though from Ignacio Brex. It seems like both sides are struggling to hang on to this ball. I'm watching live. I'm going to get the female commentator to shut up. Never want to hear a female when I'm watching rugby, says Duncan. Who's the female commentator? You must have different commentators to me because I haven't heard. I hear Mills, but I haven't heard any female commentator at this stage. I think New Zealand was better than New Zealand, says Jason, and All Blacks. And also we have got there the knock-on scrum. Yep, so it is going to be the scrum to New Zealand. Japan better than the All Blacks. Says Cool Coyote. And the side ABs with all these errors will never beat the Springboks. Says Roy Hart. And the Cake Tin Curse. Yeah. It's still a thing, isn't it? For this New Zealand side. Adu is missing out. Have you never watched this women's rugby? Yeah, that Women's World Cup last year was absolutely phenomenal. And ball goes in. Roygaard. Cross to Geordie Barrett. Now moves it on to McKenzie. Passes out to Will Jordan. Did score the second try up against the Italians back in November of 2024, which is a little bit of an irrelevant stat at this stage, but he has scored up against them as a second try in the past. Geordie Barrett, big chopping tackle on him by Juan Ignacio Brex. Bit of a counter-ruck, brilliantly done by Billy Proctor to keep it on the side of New Zealand. Cam Roygaard bumping off Riccioni. Passes away to Lomax. Facing the wrong direction, so decides to cut it back towards that halfway line. New Zealand having to work extremely hard for every metre that they make at this current point in time. Roygaard passes across to McKenzie, moves it on to Satiti. Hangs on to it that time. 38 metres out from the line now. It's slow and methodical the way that New Zealand are building their phases here, just trying to keep the ball on their side. McKenzie, wide slinging pass out to Luke Jacobson. He scored in similar fashion just last week, or actually offloaded it up to Will Jordan to score last week. Might have been a knock-on on the ground from Jacobson too, so we'll keep an eye on that if New Zealand do manage to cross the try line. 28 minutes through this fixture. Bit of a rough pass from Derry. Love does well to take it from behind him though. Now Proctor with the settling run. Derry almost knocked it on in the breakdown. Referee says no again. De Groot passes across to Love. Knock on from Barrett. Drop ball. And now the Italians are going to be the one who get called as a knock-on. They must have ruled that Geordie Barrett one as backwards. And Gibbs thought Italy was a pushover. Well, to be fair to them, the way that they played last week, they possibly would have been. But They have played a different game here, and it seems like now they're starting to find their rhythm, Italy. As they normally do up against New Zealand, around that halftime break is relatively close a majority of the time. We actually saw that in the 29-11 scoreline from 2024. What we're quickly going to do. Yeah, 29-11, halftime score in that contest was 17-6 in favour of New Zealand. Morby just doing some push-ups on the sideline currently, warming up the muscles just in case he has to go out there. We have got there, Italy ain't going to last at this pace. You watch, says Ruts. And also Proctor showing why he's not a starting test player, says Tama. You see, he's had a couple of mistakes, Proctor. He's also done a couple of things right, though, which I think people have overshadowed because of the mistakes. But, yeah, it just depends on what you're looking for in terms of, you know, his work in the breakdown currently throughout this game, with the exception of where he went down on his hands. He's been very solid. He's actually been doing more work in the breakdown than some of the forwards have been, which is kind of a little bit of a telling stat. Good day, Hamish, says Jeff J. 80 points to 10. Based on this, going to be a hell of a battle against Ireland, says Stewart. But now scrum again about to take place for New Zealand. They are sitting 40 metres out from the Italian line. Bring back Razor, says Inner Light. Today, says Jeff there too. But we have got plenty more matches taking place today, ladies and gentlemen. The next one will be Australia versus France. If I give you my number, can you text me updates? I'm trying to hit Piston Can't Watch. You'd be able to just like randomly open YouTube though, right? And you'd be able to see it, maybe. Now Roy Gard going away to the left-hand side. Geordie Barrett moves it on to Ruben Love. Now McKenzie. That's a huge shot again from Ignacio Brex, who really likes to target the kneecaps in those low chopping tackles. Roy Gard away to McKenzie, doesn't decide to go to the left-hand side, instead bumps up to that 22-metre line, playing pinball with a couple of Italian defenders. Now up to the 22, De Groot, short ball to Lomax, tops it up to Tupovai. Xavier plays half, moves it on to Taylor, Geordie Barrett now. Roy Gard, cross to Satiti. And to make some good ground now, the Kiwis, and that was accidental offside from Juan Ignacio Brex, and Cody Taylor and Brex go no-to-nose. Now, the thing that happened there, he said, have a look, says Juan Ignacio Brex. There was something happening between him and Cody Taylor. I think he's saying that Taylor was holding him. Ethan Groot's just told him to F off, so that hasn't gone down well. But yeah, he was delayed getting back on side, and then unfortunately for him, just ended up at the completely wrong time. Leroy Carter as well, while this is all happening, ladies and gentlemen, is waving to the touch judge, or waving to the sideline. He is done for today, I believe. Okay, so it was a neck roll from Cody Taylor. So that is going to be a penalty to the Italians. This ref is a joke, says Mitch, so you don't agree with the neck roll on the Italian player, Mitch? We have got there how many spots are actually on your shirt. Hamish, there'd be more than 5, I'd say. This is the real score at the moment. It is 10 points to 7 at the moment. And there, around the neck from Cody Taylor with the roll and the breakdown. So the penalty goes the way of Italy. We have there, good decision, ref says BK, and also Italians hammering our playmakers. I like it. Oh, that one, not finding touch from the Italians. Oh, big mistake made, and after you win a penalty, you cannot afford to do something like that. It puts the momentum right back in the equation. Now, Geordie Barrett, good tackle again by Ignacio Brex. Loves a good spot one-on-one tackle, that man. Been in all the action so far. All Blacks have paid the ref, says Mitch. I don't know if they specifically have. Normally referees do get paid though. Fun fact, it is international rugby. Into the 22 now. Italy with the ball in hand. Tommaso Allen. Should also mention penalty count before was 4 against New Zealand, 2 against the Italians. So if they paid the referee, they obviously didn't pay him enough because he's been giving them more penalties against the All Blacks than they've been winning. Oh no, Leroy Carter is still out there and he's managed to claim that ball. Carter flicks it on the inside to Will Jordan, who again will score the second try for New Zealand against Italy, just like 2024. All Blacks should have preloaded on pasta and pizza, says Tauro. But Will Jordan, man, cannot avoid a try. 3 for the season, 48 for the career, so he is now sitting just behind Doug Howlett by the one, but it was the counter-attack, and it was all down to the Italian mistake, not finding touch with the ball, allowing New Zealand to then counter, and Leroy Carter down the wing managed to fire it back on the inside. 2 more for the record. And we have there, can't blame the ref when they're doing stupid stuff, says my name. Yeah, that was just a massive mistake from Italy to not find touch. You cannot afford a counter-attack, and they have learnt that the hard way. Shocking score. As a Bok fan, we need New Zealand to get back to their old ways. If they lose to Italy, we'll be without any formidable rivalry, says Theodore. Yeah, although, it's not the end of the world yet, I don't think. Still early enough in this game that it can kind of shape to be a slightly different one. Currently 31 minutes through, though, and it is 14 points to 10 after that kick has gone over. And we have the hold your arms out, Hamish. I was trying to count the dots on your shirt, says Gary. And Carter is compromised. Yeah, his shoulder, I don't think it was that flash before that try. And it actually probably led to the way that he did the offload. Oh, hang on. Okay, they've found something from way ago. They're checking to see if there's a deliberate knock-on from New Zealand, I think. Is that what they're checking? Oh, this is interesting. So what they've said here, they've gone deep into the rugby law book here. And they've pretty much said, Leroy Carter, if he's trying to catch the ball, then, if you're tapping it forward to avoid a defender, then it's not allowed. So in this case, they're saying that he's tapped it to the side to avoid Tommaso Allen. So this is going to be ruled as no try, I believe. By the sounds of it anyway. But yeah, they've said that he's tapped it forward Leroy Carter so that he can avoid the player. Oh no. They're sticking on-field decision. They have agreed 100% was the comment there from Ben Whitehouse. So this one will stand. New Zealand will be 14 points to 10 up, but a different one in the old rugby law book. Leroy Carter getting some ice on that shoulder, which does bring a debut now for Josh Morby. Much earlier in this game than he would have been anticipating. Nice take from Billy Proctor inside of his own 22. Oh, well, I don't see that every day. Says Matsu Tendai. Been told to use it there for Cam Roigard. We'll look to send it high and towards the sideline. Oh, they've just said it's Josh Morby's birthday. It's probably a decent day to make your All Blacks debut. I don't know whether or not that has happened in the 1,235 other All Blacks who have taken to the field. Now thrown in, taken by Italy. Ball in hand, currently 35 metres out from New Zealand's line. Savia and Barrett making the tackle, and New Zealand with Will Jordan, actually the player who wins the not releasing penalty. Now what you can't touch, where'd that go? You can't touch the ball and then have it go forward. It's like the basis of rugby. So pretty much the way that it's explained, you're not allowed to, for instance, let's just say there's a player coming at you. You're not allowed to throw the ball, tap it forward so that you almost like a rainbow flick in football, if that's an easy equivalent, if anyone knows what that is. So you're not allowed to do that equivalent of tapping it, because or else then players would just tap it over a player's head and then catch it behind like a little chip. Make sense? So you're not allowed to do that. But in that case, they ruled it as Leroy Carter was still trying to catch that ball rather than trying to steal a few extra meters and get round the defender. Now ball in the hands of New Zealand, 45 meters out from the opposition line. First missed tackle on Barrett, so he decided to get a few extra meters in the process too. McKenzie rushed defense on him. Another great tackle by Juan Inacio Brex. Now back across, there's a bit of an Italian injury in back play by the looks of it. Molby would be a great name for a honey producer. That's going to be the penalty going the way of the All Blacks, though, against Ross Vincent this time. I no trust in the goal kicking, says Cool Coyote. As in for New Zealand, or they're kicking for the corner. I don't think it comes down to the goal kicking. I think it comes down to the fact that they want to try and do something big throughout the next 6 minutes of this contest. Because currently, the kicking is 2 from 2. And 40 metres out in Wellington is something that Ruben Love did time and time again throughout the early stages. Or like throughout the Super Rugby season, sorry. Now, almost stolen by Italy, but the ball is on the side of New Zealand, who have now made a substantial territory gain. Savia tackled 15 metres out from the line. The Italians have turned it into a rolling maul, but they have still got the knock-on advantage here in New Zealand. They will go back now for the All Black scrum. And let's go. Italy says, hey, no. And also score Luke Jacobson says, Kian, and also good game so far. And Italy, just too many mistakes. They need to score next, says Matsutendai. Yeah, if New Zealand scored now, this one looks very different at halftime compared to how it could have. And Lucky there says my name. And also bad game from the All Blacks, though. Well, it is in Wellington, though, isn't it? So it kind of... Yeah, Wellington's just, I don't know what it is about it. I mean, don't get me wrong, the weather's like pretty chilly. And good morning all, only 30 minutes played. So currently, 35 minutes down in this contest for the earlier kickoff time. I will mention next week when they play at Eden Park up against the Irish for the All Blacks, it will be the later kickoff. No, don't bring back Razor, says Jasmine. And good morning all. Oh no, I read that one. And our forwards need a big game with Ireland. And South Africa coming up, says Floyd Kingy. Ball is put in. And scrum now collapses. No advantage in play. Roygaard across to Barrett. Rush defence. Jordan with a big no-look. Wide cut-out pass. It's gone forward to Morby. Was looking to finish it off, but they will have to go back. Could have been a big chance for Morby to score on debut. We have got, what's the deal with Wellington? Just remember it's starting in 2018 against South Africa. Yeah, their last 10 games in Wellington, I think they've lost 5 of them or something along those lines. It's a fair old amount. They've lost games here up against Ireland, up against Argentina, South Africa, the British and Irish Lions too. And it should not matter where they are playing. There's been a massive letdown first half, says Paul Elliott. And second half, All Blacks are going to stop playing around. 20 minutes left and the boys are just going to empty the gas tank. And stupid errors, says Paul Boy. There's been a lot of errors throughout this first half. There is absolutely no denying that. I think that there's been errors from both sides, which is probably why the scoreline does sit as close as it does. But Italy now, after that forward pass, will be able to have the scrum 22 metres out from their own line. Scrum's relatively set. We haven't seen a massive advantage for either side, although that's a good push from the Italians, and they win the scrum penalty there up against this All Blacks pack. Abbey's attack coach is useless. This attack is the worst it's ever been, says Juan. And All Blacks need hits of decking, quick support and recycling. And New Zealand don't do a lot of ruck pressure. They allow easy ball for Italy there. And not try and go out for the jackal a lot. And that could be down to if Savia has got some sort of injury here. Maybe that's where that comes into the equation, because I know that Jacobson's tried in a few breakdowns. He's been cleaned out in most of them. But one of the only ones that we've seen New Zealand win and not releasing penalty is actually, it was Will Jordan who managed to win it. And who has Morby replaced him? Why? So he's replaced Leroy Carter after the shoulder injury. It seemed to be left shoulder for Carter was playing up. He still managed to get a try assist after he was potentially going to make his way from the field. I'll give New Zealand that 4-point lead. Back across to the left-hand side now. Mononcello moves it on to Garbisi. Ooh, that was almost an awkward one for Faisal as he's tackled by Proctor. And it's really useless ABs. No changes gets worse. And also ABs doesn't want a lot of injuries, but there is no excuse, says Jeff. Ball still on the side of Italy with 2 minutes remaining in this first half. 14 points to 10. The way that the scoreline sits, Lewis Liner, that man's been invisible this game. I swear that's the first time we've actually seen him. And now, bit of a counter-attack. Nice work from Jacobson, muscling up, and it's gone way over the top. Derry decides to pass it into the crowd. I'll go back now for the knock-on, though. And Italy playing well, says Mujahideen. It looks like a bit of an injury here for Faisal on his shoulder. Another guy that they definitely do not want to lose. As he's looked handy. Definitely with the absence of Liner. That was the first touch I've seen for him. and he dropped it. Unfortunately, I did not read about it. And if you did, you wouldn't, or you would believe it. All Blacks outscrum by Italy, says Paul Elliott. And worst game ever from All Blacks versus Italy, says Cool Coyote. Now, the scoreline's not a mile off what it was in November in 2024, with that 29-11 scoreline. There's still enough time that things can change, though. I feel like there's still potential. Well, this one, they're just saying that they're going to have to potentially hold up this game for Faisal's arm. And we have there the 50th scrum is not even half-time. Jacobson hurt that boy. Yeah, he just muscled up. He stood up tall, put the shoulder in, and then got the offload away. I need to look outside Union for skills. Whoever's in charge couldn't organise a piss up in the brewery, says Pity. And I'm loving the crash out so far, says Haino. Yeah, I've slowly been learning, Haino. You don't like the All Blacks much, do you? I've noticed it for the last few weeks by the little comments, but you're loving this, aren't you? We have got there, what did you build today? Nothing at all. It's a Saturday, so I guess building up my excitement for the weekend of rugby. We go there, imagine being such an egotistical person that you will gladly die early from CTE just to feel important running around on grass. I don't know what you're going on about, Jason. We have got there white play Damien McKenzie. Stuffs up Will. Although, nice run from McKenzie there. Makes an extra 20 or so metres for New Zealand. Geordie Barrett going away to the right-hand side. Moves it on to Love. Satiti. Been a lot of selling of the dummy from New Zealand throughout this half. But I don't think it's on purpose. I think it's just players ending up at the wrong place. Now Barrett thought about passing across to the right. On the halfway line to Group. To Ruben Love now. Will Jordan delays his pass nicely. Out to Savi. A ball on the inside to Proctor. Gets back up as he wasn't tackled. Makes an extra 5 metres or so. The clean out on Canonia. Looks like maybe another injury here for the Italians. This is Ross Vincent. Big run from De Groot. Goes over the top of Di Bartolomeo. Now Roygaard off to Proctor. Breaks the line again. That's 2 in a row for Proctor with ball in hand. Now Roygaard. Cross to Jordan. Skip past to Savia. Tries to sit down to Musso Allen out wide. 5 seconds remain at the half. Sam Derry is the first try scorer of the match for the Kiwis. He'll be involved in the next one before the halftime break. Roygaard is calling for numbers. He's frustrated here, Roygaard. That is something you don't normally see. He is calling for more men to head to the left-hand side, and I don't think anyone even moved a muscle. Now 20 metres out. Cross to the right again for Ethan de Groot. Still there for New Zealand on the 22 up to 13 phases. Big driving tackle on Proctor by Juan Inicio Brex again. Now Roygaard to Love. Can't find his way through. Solid, strong Italian defence at the moment. Can New Zealand find their way through? Will Jordan another carry? Haven't seen Morby with the ball in hand as of yet. Roygaard shut down at the breakdown from Italy. Now pick and go. Savia just slipping over next to the breakdown. Monticello, the man who makes the tackle again. Cody Taylor up to the 22. 17 phases in. Vai on the short side of Jordan. Tries to keep the ball alive. It has been thrown into Italy. And they will just boot this ball out. They will be more than happy to accept 14-10 as the half-time score. Little bit of afters there too. Between the teams, there is going to be passion fueling this second half. I think there's frustration there too. It's both of these sides, they have been far from their best, but it has resulted in a close game. 14 points to 10. Let's be fair, Wellington has terrible weather, especially in winter, spring, summer and fall. And we have got there the Box 3-1 in the series, says Harry. And also, that was just bad, says Paul Elliott. And New Zealand 30 plus at half-time, nowhere near it. Currently 14 points to 10. We have got there, please put up a game time clock on the screen. It is down the bottom, below the scoreboard. It does say half-time just at this stage. We have got there not going to beat the Box with this, says the real Ando. And Rennie will be giving the All Blacks a good old talking to, says Jasmine. Well, he's talked about it throughout the weeks, how, you want to have the guys feel comfortable with you, but you've also got to give them a bit of a hiding when you need to, or a bit of a talking to. So I think we're going to see that at halftime because, that was far from their best. Wellington is just a hole, says Matthew. And we have got there, New Zealand have defo looked like the better team. And we have got there, good for Italy, exposing the touch rugby nonsense. And also strong arm wrestling from Italy. Thoughts on the first half? I think that Italy looked strong. They shot themselves in the foot with the mistakes that they made. I just think of that try that New Zealand scored of Will Jordan, how it was all down from the Italians missing touch. And New Zealand counter-attack scored about 2 or so phases later. So if they can avoid those little errors, they will definitely be close in the second half. But if New Zealand can get rid of some of the errors that they were having, that's when we're going to see it get a little bit closer. The clock is so small, especially when watching on the phone, says, well, we will try our best to update the timers and saying it. I think we normally say it every couple of minutes or so just to keep you guys informed about where we're at. We have got the All Blacks need to stick to this attacking style. It will start clicking by the time they hit South Africa. They'll explode all, where'd that go? Explode all over the Springboks. 3-0 to the ABs. 3-0. So who's playing? Like, is it a draw in the fourth one? And you better get into that dressing room and give them fleet in the ear. And Rennie and his bias chief selection is going to cost him this one. Says S. Devine. His bias chief selections. So who out of the Chiefs boys do you think shouldn't be there in that case? Tupavai, he needed a game after having that concussion not too long ago. Satiti, I'll be honest, Satiti's been a bit of a mixed bag in this game. He's had some solid moments, but also made a couple errors along the way. Seems a bit disgruntled on attack. Leroy Carter, he got himself a try assist and actually looked all right before getting injured. Jacobson, he's actually been one of the forwards who seem like they're doing the most work. And we have there Jacobson proving people wrong. Razors overlooked him. And we have there Proctor needs to be dropped. Says Mike Bester. And by the end of the season, he'll be tearing his hair out, says Johnny Forbes. And D-Mac is a mixed bag. Yeah, although he's had some solid attacking moments throughout this game, Damien McKenzie. I think that the thing with McKenzie, right, and this is what I've learned from doing these streams for multiple years. If there's a player that people don't like a massive amount, as soon as they drop one ball, like that's it. People say, worst game they've ever seen from them. They say, nah, everything else that they've done well doesn't count. So, like, for McKenzie, he's actually been doing all right on attack, but because of an error early in this game, people have all just gone, nah, not for us, shouldn't be the All Blacks 15 and all sorts. This is terrible, says Sam Wilson. It's not an ideal scoreline, no. But we've got a second 40. New Zealand scored 12 points last time they played the Italians in the second 40 minutes, which isn't actually that many, to be fair. Italy scored 6 points throughout that half. And then if we're looking back to 2023, which is a little way to go, the halftime score between these two sides was 49-3. I would have liked to see Amua over Taylor, Samasoni on the bench. Satiti is a very average player. Evan Russ, turn him into cream cheese. That's if Evan Russ's dad doesn't get involved and annoy Rassi again, isn't it? We have there McKenzie as the Villiers Leroux of New Zealand, says Reino. And the Proctor comment didn't age well, says Johnny Forbes. Which part of the Proctor comment? Like that he's done well or that he's done poorly? And we have it there, do you think 60, says Mohadeen? I think they'll struggle to get to 60. Am I missing something about Barrett? I don't see him doing much except getting hammered. He's had a tough game at the office, Geordie Barrett, because Italy have shut him down early. Sometimes people underestimate this Italian centre pairing, but anyone who's been keeping a close eye on Juan Inacio Brex, it's easy to spot him too because he's got the headgear on. He flies up and normally spot tackles makes about 90% of them. And then you've also got Minincello on the inside who's able to clean up any sort of other opportunities. So Barrett, I think we need to see a change of tactics from New Zealand here and work out what they can do just a little bit differently. I'll say I'm not sure if I'm 100% sold on Proctor though, says Johnny. And we're too caught up, or we're too caught up being quick, says Rasku there. And probably where'd that go? Tell you what, the chat's going flying. What got you into commentary? Do you have a daytime job? I do have a daytime job alongside this during the week. What got me into commentary was my inability to say no. Because way back in the day, we used to do a little bit of rugby gaming. And then someone said, you should commentate a game. So then I said, oh, okay, I guess so. And then they said, oh, you should do another one. So then I said, yeah, okay. And then now we're about 1,500 commentaries later, and we're still here. The All Blacks need to carry direct in attack. I don't think they have the balance right at the moment, but I'm optimistic, says Richie. And also we go there, either All Blacks are bang average or Italy are seriously good, says Ziad. Well, do you want to know the crazy thing? Italy haven't played their best rugby here, and they're only down by 4. They've had their own share of mistakes. So, like, if they actually get it right second half, Italy, and New Zealand play like they did in the first half, Italy could run away with this. That's what type of situation we find ourselves in here. I think I see them kicking the ball into Italy from their own half. What's the point? And how much passing, says Andy. Yeah, the passings looked a very stop-start type of pass today. And I mentioned about it earlier on, how we've seen many times throughout that first half where New Zealand looked to fire it away to the left-hand side or the right, and they'd hesitate. They'd look and go, and then they decide to just hit it up. So, yeah, I think that there's probably a little bit of miscommunication out there. Very funny how All Blacks commentators, I think every player is called Canoni. Italy are good. All Blacks are average, says Mike Bester. Well, they do have 2, to be fair. They got Nicolo and Lorenzo. I always say that Nicolo looks a bit like an oversized Jake Paul. That's how some people do still describe him. We have then no excuses, says Jeff J. And loving your work as always, Hamish. Are you playing a fantasy game? I am not. Only because I'm terrible at predictions. And tell you what, we need a big high-scoring second half here, or else my prediction and my preview is going to be an absolute mile off. Which I'm happy about, to be fair. I wanted this one to be closer. But I said the All Blacks to win 65-15, and that's nowhere near it at the moment. Italy are taking it to us. Says Centre. You're right, it's been a long season. I think the pace on the outside... Where'd that go? Outside by the Italians are making them second-guess the outside ball. Beauden Barrett should be fullback next weekend, says Matthew, and also Wallace Satiti not living up to expectations, says Sean Gunter. He's had a bit of a mixed bag of a game. Wallace Satiti, we have seen New Zealand have 6 handling errors along the way in this contest. Wellington is known for Beehive, says Jason, and let's get Segner on. Yeah, see, that would be a big question. What type of level is Ardie Savia at currently in terms of health? Because he did take that extremely early knock, and I don't think he's been anywhere near influential enough from that number 8 jersey. So it could even be him who goes off for Segner, and maybe that's why they're trying to delay it so much. Because they feel like, you know, it is such a big call to get him out there. But what I would do, which I'm glad I'm not in charge, by the way, I think you get Segner on for the injured Savia, and then you just, you know, you go from there. Worst comes to worst, you can always move Tupavai to lock to loose forward if needed, if you need an extra replacement, because you've still got Josh Lord off of the bench. We have you there, the boys need a rocket in the sheds. And Segner first try in the second half, and All Blacks haven't earned the right up front to go wide, no platform, says Dylan. Yeah, they've been pressured. Savia's injured. He got injured in the first minute of the game and has looked a little bit lackluster since. I'm not sure what the extent was of the injury. He didn't go off the field. We did see Leroy Carter as the only change so far. McKenzie gets the ball, takes a few steps, changes directions, and his momentum disappears. Says Andy, who will be captain if Savia goes off. Probably Cody Taylor, I would say, would take over the captaincy. Yeah, I think that's the easy, straight switch. Taylor is the captain, and then when Taukeiaho makes his way on, maybe you look at, well, I mean, they can work it out from there, can't they? Oh, yeah, the All Blacks will win. They're simply struggling with the line speed. They don't have enough ball. Doesn't to punch open defence, says Ziad. And what's Ardie's injury? It seemed like it was some sort of, I thought it was shoulder or something for a start. But then it seemed like his legs, I don't know, Savia's legs always look like they aren't quite working. Just because of the amount of tape on them. You know how it looks quite robotic when he moves. How bad did Waimete get hit with the rain last week? I actually don't know. I haven't heard. But, actually, no. I heard from my mum that the local course is flooded for golf. So, probably a fair old amount of water down there. And why not just drop Tupavai to 8 and bring on Lord? Says Reno, because Vai doesn't play 8. What you could do is move Tupavai to 6, Satiti to 8, and then bring on Lord. That's your other option if you want to protect Segner for that little bit longer. We have there talk about the game. Says Peter, what would you like to know, Peter? give us some information or about what you're looking for, because we have been mentioning players in this match as well as their injuries and whatnot, but I guess that's maybe not quite enough information in that regard. So statistically, this game, first half was shocking, I guess is the best way of describing it, because a lot of handling errors, few penalties against either side. No yellow cards as of yet, which we did see quite a few the last time these two sides ended up facing off. Geordie to fullback, D-Mac off the bench against the Lions beat to Pyre at 12. We have got there who's winning France versus Australia. I think Australia at Suncorp. I think it'll be a tough one to win, because France look good up against New Zealand, but they have also made some drastic changes. Crazy that Abby's so bad, going to battle with the Irish in the box. Where's Beauden Barrett? He will be not playing in this game. I think we'll see him next week, though. And I'm okay, well, didn't know he couldn't play 8. Yeah, he hasn't played 8 in his career, I don't think. I think 6 is the only time. And when he played as a 6, he also got a whole heap of stick. Because, well, not so much a whole heap of stick, but he thought they were joking when they said to play as the 8. Thanks for the suggestion, says Peter. So in terms of the try scorers so far, Peter, we have seen the try from Minincello. That was the early try in the 2.5-minute stage of the contest. Then for New Zealand, Sam Derry, and also Will Jordan has also scored as well. It was happening to South Africa. The Springbok fans, are we saying that they are playing bad on purpose? Says Noah. And also, when is halftime coming up? We know the last minutes matter, says Willow. So halftime break is almost over here at this point in time. One second, we'll go like this. And we'll go like that as well. Currently, New Zealand are the favourites, which I think is understandable. But, yeah, Italy have certainly brought a little bit of fight into this matchup as well. We've got the players. It's when the team's been selected for each week. Specifically, a team like the All Blacks, you rely on brand. You automatically rest players. We have got there, is Tana the right choice for defence, or was he just picked for his mana? Well, the thing is as well, with him at Moana Pacifica, he wasn't the defence coach. He was the head coach. So it did seem like a bit of a curveball to chuck him in there. Like, the thing is, New Zealand have conceded 1 try in this game. So the defence at times has been all right, but again, there's been a few missed tackles. I also think that is down to people underestimating, once again, the Italian power that they do offer. We have got there, Rennie is having a Robertson moment, but now it's the question, how do they bounce back? Second half is just around the corner, and I do think that this is one of those games where could be a game of 2 halves. How long do you think Ratama will be on for? It's a good question. I actually think they might consider a slightly earlier change with Ratama on. Nothing against Roygaard, depending on how the scoreline sits, of course. It's probably just the Wellington curse, let's be honest. Says Josh Hudson. And D-Mac needs to go. So does Ratama, who is another liability. Was Dave Rennie the right choice, considering we have struggled in the first 2 tests? I think that saying straight away with a new coach, with new tactics, and a side struggling, that's just normal. You know, I don't think I can recall too many coaches how in their very first game, it's all of a sudden just gone all bright and dandy and everything's gone well. And you build your game plan around shutting Roygaard down. You probably win, says Estevan. All right, Anton Segner is on, ladies and gentlemen. Who is that for, though? Is that for Savia? I think it could be for Savia. Savia looked like he was a bit rough. What do we got? I'm hoping they're going to tell us very soon, but Segner on early is certainly a change and a half. This man has had a phenomenal Super Rugby Pacific season for a struggling Blues. We have got their signal on. Says username. Oh, and Rennie is other Razor. Jason, you should probably calm down a bit. if you can, if it's possible. It's hard to tell. But now, big kickoff there from New Zealand. And this one's going to be taken from the Italians inside of their own 22. 40 minutes remaining. South Africa predictions. I went South Africa by 15. That's got more optimism amongst the fan base would be nice. We have there who scored, says Michael. Minincello for the Italians, and then for New Zealand we've seen Will Jordan and Sam Derry. Now away to the left-hand side, Roygaard going to Satiti. Just looking around at the moment. Savia's still out there. They've taken Jacobson off. Okay, so Savia must have been all right then. You'd have to assume, because, or else why would you take off someone who actually finished the first half with a bit of extra oomph? And Jacobson, big collision with Segner alongside Mononcello. We have there, New Zealand went from 2-second ruck to 5 seconds. Says called Coyote, cycle back for Lomax on the halfway line. Ruben Love moves it on to Satiti again. Tackled by Zimbanin. Now Derry, cross to Love, almost drop ball from Jordan, but the delayed pass does make a mistake from the Italian defence. Morby going up the middle, passes to Roygaard, who will score the try between the posts. Assist for Morby in a dream debut here. And he will get a lot of credit for what happened. Will Jordan, it was the fumble of the ball that actually led to the gap opening up. It just seemed like Italy almost hesitated when that happened. As Roygaard on? He certainly is, and he's just scored the try. And Skinny Segner okay too. The thing is though, Segner's not as small as people think he is. Like you always see people saying, oh, he's a tiny man and whatnot, but he's about 6'4". He's about 110 kgs or something like that. He looks lean, but yeah, he's got a bit of grunt about him, and that is a brilliant run from Morby there to create the gap. That kick has gone over. The scoreline now looks very different to what it did at halftime. The All Blacks now lead by 11, but a very fast start to the second half. We go there, Jacobson's skills are not turnovers. Maybe they decided to counter ruck. Again, on the front foot says run, Forrest, run. Potentially, yeah. They might have decided that was the way that they can start getting a bit more aggressive, trying to get more possession. And that's better. We need that bonus point too. Let's keep the table in mind too. That is true, yeah. One more try for New Zealand will give them the bonus point from this game as they do take it inside of their 22. Proctor fires it across to, was Wallace. Oh no, in fact, it was Savia that time. Now Roygaard. This is looking dangerous. Flat ball to Satiti, who's dropped the ball again though in open space. He'll be frustrated there. Savia, he is smiling. He has given his teammates thumbs up. They know that they are now on in the second half to try and start getting a bit more aggressive. Looks like the injury for Italy and back play as well. But Roygaard delaying the pass debatably forward into the hands of Satiti, but just slip through the fingertips. Another unforced error. And my 42-17 prediction isn't looking too silly now, says Big Rig. And who scored for the All Blacks so far? We have seen Will Jordan, we've seen Cam Roygaard, so just the normals, and then also Sam Derry. But the two debutants at the moment on at half-time. And we have got there, Satiti is not on today. Get Satiti off, says Matthew. Anton Leonard Brown on, please, says Gary there. And I only found you last year. I've been missing out, says Wolf. Yeah, we've been going since 2020, I believe, was the first stream on the channel. We see there Leonardo Marin. He has made his way onto the field, and that is going to be replacing the number 14, Malik Faisal, who did have that injury near the end of the first half when trying to tackle Luke Jacobson. Satiti out, please, says Driss. Yeah, it's been far from his best game, Satiti, from that number 6 jersey. The slight shame is he's had some decent moments, but the drop balls have overshadowed that. Ruben Love seems to be having a quiet game. Says Noah. Oh, the 21. That is going to be Favoretto, who comes on, who was more beyond for. He's on for Leroy Carter, and this is a sad sight to see Canoni making his way from the field. That is Lorenzo. Looks like some sort of right knee injury. But yeah, Carter off with a shoulder injury. Love needs to run it, says Harry Barry. Yeah, looked like a much more aggressive start to the second half, though, for New Zealand, so perhaps we will see a bit more of that. That was almost a knock-on at the back of the scrum off the free kick for Italy. Now going back across to the right-hand side. Lomax thought about trying to get in there and look for the steal. The ball goes away to the right. Varney. Rush defense there. Oh, it was almost intercepted by Roygaard, but because of it, everyone else kind of stopped. Ball still going to be called as play on. So TT rushing up to make the tackle on Tommaso Di Bartolomeo. Another injury. Vincent is down now on the far side. Ball still there, a bit of army crawling from Ethan de Groot to get out of that breakdown. Segner wanted the steal on the breakdown, couldn't quite get there. Derry. Now 45 minutes through, and Italy looking to break the line with Leonardo Marin. Nice pop pass up to Tommaso Allen, chopping tackle from Love. Another offload up from Italy. That's about 3 in a row in terms of the tackle where they have offloaded from their back to keep this ball alive. It is Niccolò Canoni now. All Blacks having to defend yet again. 11 phases in a row. Varney, cross to Canoni. Didn't look like he was quite ready to receive that ball, but they went to him anyway. Ball's available for the Italians once more. How do you watch the game for free in New Zealand? I don't actually know whether or not we've got any free options, which is a massive shame unless it's delayed on Prime. Now looking for the flick pass was Leonardo Marin. Now short side defence from McKenzie and Morby. Segner trying to get over the ball, looking for the steal, couldn't. Italy slowly building up the field, and it all came down to that injury, or sorry, not the injury, the error that we saw. Now, this one might be stolen. Yes, it is. Is it going to be the turnover there? And we have their 13 turnover, and also we need McKenzie at 10, says JP, but currently 5 metres out from the line. Tupavai almost ended up isolated, but the forwards getting in there to protect it on the side of New Zealand, who are only just out from their own goal line. Roygaard looking to kick this one downfield. Heading towards the touchline, but it doesn't manage to go out there. Now Morby going to cover that ground. Varney. So back across to Riccioni with the fend on Savia. Only 10 metres from the 22 of the All Blacks. Italy with some really good position after that quick fire start of the second half for New Zealand. Replay on TV3 at 9 p.m. CSK Green. Oh, okay, so they got, I guess that's something, isn't it? It's just a shame that they don't have like a live option. Now I'll wait to the right. Varney. Cross to the left once more. Canoni. Bit of a spin there. Ethan de Groot. He says that he was taken out low. Varney again fires it across to Garbisi. Now Ignacio Brex out to Munancello, the first try scorer for the Italians. Big power shot from Proctor. And at halftime, Bearsy Hamish says Tomo now moving across to the right again. Italy with some really good phase play to start off the second half. They didn't concede. Oh, that's a mistake. They've decided to kick it. Geordie Barrett decides to kick it back and now becomes a foot race. Morby, who's not exactly known for huge pace, but he's going to get within 3 metres of the try line now. Ball on the side of the Kiwi. Satiti picks it up, flicks it out to Barrett. No look past to Derry, who will be 1 metre short advantage now for New Zealand as well. Roygaard looks to go himself. He'll be dragged down 1 metre out. Savia looking to play halfback. He's lining up Ethan de Groot here. Bit of a lobby ball, but de Groot extends over. And it's another try for New Zealand. You know how I mentioned Italy have been their own worst enemy? That is case in point right there. Going for a grubber just because they weren't making a massive amount of metres. Ball sits up for New Zealand. Barrett kicks it in behind. Morby gets it 3 metres out, and then they finish it off in style. But it's just one error that Italy have cost themselves. They've actually conceded 2 tries from 2 errors at this point in time in the earlier stages of the game. The group been knocking twice, third time, baby. Says the AI underdog there. And we have got the, they don't have any dynamic playmakers, it seems. And also we have got there, that good. That if the coach don't have a player, just put Damien in that position and more points needed. In fact, a statement is needed for this game, says Mashihu. And now, Ruben Love misses it away to the right-hand side. But I should also mention that is going to be the bonus point now for New Zealand. No matter what happens in the rest of this game, they will receive at least 1 Morby hidden speed. Yeah, I was impressed with the acceleration off the mark for Morby. I know that normally at the Canes it's talked about so much how quick Fihi Whianofo is, but you know, Morby was doing all right in that foot race. I used to do what you are doing. I would pay a sub to Sky Sport now. So AO's decided to mass report me. Says It was there from Bryson Evie. I don't know why, but I think your name rings a bell. Like, as in, like, back in... Were you doing it in, like, 2022 or somewhere around there? I may have seen your channel, maybe. Back in the day. Maybe. That's a bit of a throwback. We have got the Italy mistakes have led to AB's scorers, but AB's mistakes didn't lead to Italy scoring, says Greggs. Now knocked on big time by the Italians. Now Roygaard. Couple quick sells of the dummy there. Now cross to the left-hand side. Ruben Love looking to kick it in behind. Trying to gain that little bit of territory, but Italy now back in possession. Garbisi. We also do see Vincent has made his way off the field for Marini. And Love must go off, says JP. If he mowed down Leroy Carter from behind on 2 occasions during that final, the guy has pace, says Mike. So yeah, it's probably very easy to see everyone else is slower than Fehi Whinianofo. 30 minutes remaining now, though. Taken by Ruben Love just outside of the 22, Will Jordan. He's got 3 men now on the outside. This is a big chance. Savia with the break. Doesn't pass it just yet. Tries to go over the top of Garbisi. Now Anton Segnin, another carry for him. Bring back Rico, says Aaron Sinclair. I think they probably will at some stage, maybe for that South African tour. Basilio Tossi, he is on for Lomax. We got McKenzie, looked like he was playing first receiver there, delays the pass. Now Jordan flicks it backwards. Geordie Barrett takes it on the halfway line, runs it forward out to Morby, who breaks the line again. Ball on the inside to Jordan, and he will tie the record for all-time tries in an All Blacks kit, and he's still got time to try and get one more. But Josh Morby, the assist king at the moment, off of the bench for New Zealand. That is now his second. Who would have thought it? That he was going to be that little bit of the hidden connection that New Zealand needed. But flying down that wing, they are doing damage. It could also, I could possibly say it's because Faisal's gone off. It seems like maybe Leonardo Marinin is not quite defensively doing what they were initially. At 10 minutes, 3 tries, says Ant plays. Yeah, they're looking to speed up now. They scored that, please. That one was Will Jordan. And Italy will be feeling the hurt now. ABs are still yet to peak in another try, and Segner and Morby have made a massive difference. Yep, 2021 to 23 Bledisloe Cup. I was a big hitter for sure. Yeah, I think I may have seen your channel back in the day. So did you stop after 2023, or have you made another channel since then? And Morby's showing he's going to be a hard to drop, says Run Forest Run. Although they're going upstairs here for something in the breakdown. They're checking for a Cam Roygaard knock on. Oh. Okay, no, they're not. They're checking for a headbutt from Canoni. We're going to see it now. Oh, that's actually real dirty from Niccolo Canoni. That's a headbutt on the ground. He's off-field review, yellow card here. Now, the thing is, I want to give him the benefit of the doubt that he was frustrated that someone was holding his leg and tried to shuffle out of it. Yeah, okay, I think that's what the referee said as well. It's only a yellow card because they're saying it was unintentional. He was trying to get out of a tackle or getting out of held. But yeah, it still looked really bad from certain angles. Looks like a flying headbutt on the ground. But the score now, 33-10. Ladies and gentlemen, the way that this one sits, we're still another 28 minutes remaining. Now back across to the left-hand side, Cam Roygaard moves it on to Ruben Love, grab it in behind by Geordie Barrett. McKenzie chasing after it. Bounce of the ball sits up, though, for Paulo Garbisi round halfway. Who he butted? It was Niccolo Canoni, the number 4. A new coach, different game plans and ideas, trying combinations, obviously teething issues, says Tomo. Do you know what's interesting, though? 52 minutes in, 33-10 doesn't look like a bad scoreline, right? So anyone who tunes in now will think, oh, yeah, the All Blacks have been in control. But that has been far from the case. 14-10 at halftime. Chopping tackle on Satiti, but gets the offload away to Jordan, who breaks through a couple. He is eyeing up that hat trick. Now Roygaard Wait to the left again, bit of a low pass to Ruben Love, but he floats it on the outside to Simasoni Tolkiaho. Some early changes are being made here. Savia bumps off Varney. Now Roy Gard back across to Bauer. Ruben Love up to Proctor. He breaks through with a fend. Many options to be able to pass to, and in the end it was the worst pass possible. And now McKenzie, though, jumping in the breakdown, wins the penalty for his side anyway. We have all these couch coaches commenting about the ABs. J Jobs let the boys play, says KDD. But the ball carrier holding on, penalty. And bad pass Proctor. Yeah, he did a brilliant line break, but then from there just got it wrong. Oh, quick dab taken now. That's a bit rough. There is a player. In fact, there's 2 players down with injury. Will Jordan, he will get the record. Yeah. I mean, you play to the whistle. He does get the try, but yeah, that was a bit of a rough one from the Kiwis, waiting until there was the Italian player injured, as well as a man who decided to tie his shoelace, and then they saw the gap, decided to go, and Jordan now with a 50th try from 56 tests, and that is another one now for New Zealand. And Cody Taylor try come on, well, he is off the field now, so he will not be able to get another try, but we see it there, the player down for Italy with a bit of an injury. I think that's Lewis Liner. Which is a big shame because he is hardly featured in this one. That's a get off the field. Says Iron Lion there. And Jordan number 50 says dunk. And Ratama on now. Not yet. I said 50 plus, 69 actually. Says Sock. Yeah, well, my prediction of 65-15 may not be enough now. The way that this one's going. Who scored the AB's try so far? So Will Jordan has the hat trick, which also gives him the record. Nice kick from Ruben Love as that one drifts over too. We've seen the Cam Roygard try and also Sam Derry. Congratulations, Will Jordan, says Matthew there. What time is the France-Australia game? It starts at 7:40, so 1 hour, 8 minutes time. It's when that one's going to be starting up. Hater saying the All Blacks will lose 4 minutes into the game, says Irva. Will Jordan finishing it off. 50 from 56. In an ODI, you'd be pretty happy with that average or that strike rate, but Will Jordan doing it at an international level for the All Blacks. It's very impressive indeed. Proctor is not good, says Driss. Congratulations, Will Jordan, says Josiah. And Jordan's timing and running lines impeccable. See another change now being made for the Italians too. Oh yeah, and Ethan de Groot, sorry, missed him out. Billy Proctor takes that ball inside of the All Blacks 22. Back across, Simasoni Tolkiaho moves it on to Ruben Love. Is this the case of the second half because of the subs or because of the obviously massive talking to that they got at half time? Because, you know, even someone like a Simasoni Tolkiaho who's come out there, it seems like there's a lot of intent behind those guys who have made their way off the bench. Morby's been phenomenal though as the impact player. Big collision in the air between Garbisi and Barrett. Where's that one? Put Leonard Brown on new front row. Well, George Bauer's out there, Tossi's out there, Tolkiaho's out there. So they have made those changes. They just haven't got Leonard Brown on as of yet. And Italy with the possession round the halfway line. 24 minutes remaining on the clock. Italy now find themselves down by 30, but a nice backline misread there from Morby defensively. A couple selling the dummies from Tommaso Allen as he's tackled 20 metres out from the line. He got crushed as well. His ribs will definitely be hurting as he stays down for now, being winded. Garbisi popping it up now to Marco Riccioni. Savia thought about this still in the breakdown again. Allen's in a bad way in the back play, by the way. That wasn't supposed to rhyme. Knock on there from Morby. Picked up by Italy with the counter-attack. Juan Ignacio Brex running down the wing. Offload on the outside. Italy will score the try with Leonardo Marin. And they don't quite feel like they're out of this game yet, the Italians. But concerned for Tommaso Allen. He got crunched in that tackle. Good morning from South Africa. You're doing all the games today. All of them except for Japan versus Ireland. That is the one game that we are missing. But outside of that, every other matchup, we've got about 11 hours of commentary that will be happening on the channel today. Nice comeback, and they get the bonus point. That is something that they'll definitely be eyeing up here, the Italians. Of course, they'd love more than just that, but that'll be the bare minimum that they are after. Horror sequence for Morby there, says Mr. Tuba Dude. Yeah, unfortunately, he just ended up in about a 3-on-1 by himself and got completely wrong-footed. Italians knocked the ball on in the ruck. Says that one's going to be nicely done, though, by the Italian replacement. We have got there, looks like defence still needs to be sorted, says Eugene. And that kick has just gone over, had the distance for Garbisi. Oh. Okay, there's still Tommaso Allen down. Red card for headbutt, guy, says Cool Coyote. And Morby hero to 0 in the last 10 minutes, says Greggs. It looks like defence still needs to be sorted. Maybe a little bit. I mean, again, 3-on-1 makes it difficult. But yeah, it does seem like Nicola Canoni is going to have his one upgraded to a red card. He will not be playing for the rest of this game. That one's going to be now. Yeah, he looks confused. Nicola Canoni. He is just asking the question of whether or not it is going to be the card. Yeah, it didn't look great for Canoni. And I feel like it's because he was getting held by Bauer that he did it. But, like, he can try and argue that his eyes were down. But, yeah, it'll be an interesting one. But, yeah, crunching one on Tommaso Allen, just having his ribs crushed by Cam Roigard. And we have got there, Italy score with 14 men well. And also good job, red card, says Matthew. And still a worried defence is needed, 80 minutes, says Robert. Yeah, Allen looks like he is still in a very large amount of pain. So it looks like they're about to get a stretcher out there just to give him a bit of a carting off. We have got there who got the red card. It was the card of Niccolo Canoni. And that red from a little moment ago. 14 minutes remain of that yellow. Of that red card. Bad camera angle says my name. And we have got there how much time in the clock. So currently we have still got another 22 minutes remaining. We've got there, Jason, our rude man, says, Luke, you should see how rude he can get. That's timid for Jason. You should have seen what happened when he got timed out or blocked by one of the moderators. He was going on every YouTube channel that would listen and was talking all sorts of smack about me. We have got there 17 points, Italy. So bad from the AB, says Cool Coyote. And debut try for Morby, please. Says Dunk. Well, he's been close a couple times. Couple try assists in a row for Josh Morby. I can see the All Blacks been in the box in 3 out of 4 of the upcoming tests, says Dazza. And take Taylor, or is Taylor and Leroy off? Both men are off, yes. So Leroy Carter got an assist just before he made his way from the field. And then Cody Taylor off in the early stages of the second half. Will Jordan, now he has 10 tries behind Shane Williams, 14 behind David Campisi. This will be the next 2 men in Will Jordan's radar. And to be fair, with the amount of tries that he has scored in quick succession throughout his international career, he could have it maybe by the end of the year. Legend, how are you, says David. Welcome in. Hope you are doing very well. I'm excited for all the rugby that we've got at the moment for today. Leroy shoulder injury, says I was there for Raku Scut. And also we have got there an All Blacks won't game in South Africa with this bad coaching staff, says Driss. And they are just showing the Nations Championship at the moment in the north. Italy do not find themselves sitting too nicely, but Wales, believe it or not, at the top of the bunch. You're successful when you have haters online, says Floyd King. We got a fair few of them, to be fair. Jordan so far in this game, 3 tries, 68 metres made, 3 line breaks. Imagine scrum All Blacks bad versus Italy, so versus Box Massacre, says Driss. And we have the stretch of that guy off. Geez, says our underdog. Yeah, they've had him down for a little while, Tommaso Allen, which makes you think there is something quite concerning. I think it looked like it was in the ribs, so could be a broken rib. Might be struggling for a bit of air at the moment, Tommaso Allen. Rennie will be annoyed that they try the ABs didn't put in there. And also we have got the Scotland by 5, says Steve Ando. And do you think that Scotland have a chance beating the Box rotational team? I hope it will be kind of close. It's BS, Hamish. What's BS? Like the rib thing? I think we need changes in the front row. And also Rennie has to take top scrum coach quickly before the South African tour. And I'm going to lose everything. I have an under 63.5, 3K, please. Yeah, it maybe wasn't the best call. And we have their first time listener. Thanks for this rugby commentary. Dale at Dubo. Have I said that correctly? Dubo? Is that how you'd say it? But thank you very much, Darwin. It's greatly appreciated you being here. We've still got plenty more coming up later on tonight as well. Ladies and gentlemen, there we go. This is how it sits for the upcoming schedule. Other than we aren't doing Japan versus Ireland. That's our game off so that we can then get prepared for the 3 in a row that are taking place later on. But Australia versus France, that one is the next game. That is kicking off in an hour's time. We are going to be covering it on the channel. One second. There we go. But we're just looking through. The coverage is 7:30 for that Australia versus France game. But we go right through to about 9 a.m. tomorrow morning. It's going to be a bit of a hectic one and comment the game. Well, currently there's a stoppage in the game because Tommaso Allen is still down. And he has been down for about 5 minutes now. We have got there, give us a hand with this commentary. And we have got there, I think Rennie should do what Rennie wants to do. Otherwise, I will go coach them. Yeah, just showing all the later games as well. Both sides just trying to stay warmed up while we do have this extended stoppage. What's happening? Says Josiah, currently Tommaso Allen is still down from that rib shot that he took earlier on. It looked like an awkward way that he landed. He's probably got a few broken ribs in the equation, so they're just taking all the precautions to take him off the field. And we have got there Billy still on. We've got 3 tries. Yeah, Billy Proctor's had an interesting game. He's had some real good moments, and also alongside that, he's had some rough ones. We have got there, do I have a chance, please? I'm begging you, bro. You're probably losing your money, to be honest. Like, the way that it sits at the moment, we have 57 points already, and there's still another 23 minutes remaining. The first half of rugby, we saw 24 points scored. Already in the second half, we have seen about 30-something. And Scotland is looking dangerous after beating the Pumas. Says Sityawan. And I need McKenzie, says SE. But yeah, stoppage is about to be over, ladies and gentlemen. Tommaso Allen, it seems like they're going to take him from the field now. We have got there, Scotland have got better. So I will watch with interest, says Johnny Forbes. And off in a stretch, neck break, says Rusku Cut. So yeah, they're just taking all precautions that they can to make sure that he's going to be all right. Will Jordan start in 2015 All Blacks? 2015, who you got on your wings and fullback? It'd probably be in the equation. Like, it's hard to deny a man who's got 50 tries from 56 test matches. Anton Leonard-Brown, he has made his way now onto the field. A refreshment break. Yeah, well, it's been an extended stoppage, and it looks like the players are now just trying to fire themselves up to get back into that attacking mindset. Cortes Ratama, he has also made his way onto the field. That is for Cam Roygard. We see a thumbs up there from Tommaso Allen, but he still does not look like he's too comfortable at all. We over there, refreshment break. And also Regan McKenzie will try, says Seth. Can Will Jordan take the world record of 69 test tries? Well, he's only 19 away, so that's 2 seasons. So if Will Jordan can stay fit and keeps on scoring at the rate that he has been, he definitely could get into that kind of category. And Brown go on, says Josiah McKenzie will create a try, not score himself. It's worth cashing out my multi. Last leg is All Blacks minus 31.5. I'll leave that up to you, really. I wouldn't want to give any sort of gambling advice. The crowd are currently singing a bit of Bon Jovi. Alessandro Garvisi on the field for Tommaso Allen. That ball close to the sideline for Lewis Liner. Jordan keeps it alive. Simasoni Tokiaho going across to McKenzie. New Zealand almost retreating to get into position now. Anton Segner across to Anton Leonard-Brown. He has Morby with him. Takes on the collision. Now Morby going to wait to the right-hand side to Derry. Where are the people in the background, mate? Says Andrew. Oh, sorry, that was from Daniel. I don't even know how I got Andrew from Daniel. But now Tokiaho, big fin there. Oh, just throwing away. The number 9, Stephen Varney. Now Ratama, away to the left. Bauer pops it back to Ruben Love. Satiti, about 4 men on the outside. Drop ball from McKenzie as pass wasn't quite in the bread basket. Leonard-Brown on the halfway line. Now Ratama again moves it across. Satiti to Savia. Go, boys, go. And the second 5 position needs addressing. I don't know what would be The best choice for that position, says Iron Lion. Short side for the Italians. Segna wanted the offload but couldn't free up their hands. Minincello also told to get out of that breakdown. Vasilio Tossi, tremendous Super Rugby Pacific season, actually played a lot more minutes than Tyrell Lomax, the man who had his 50th game earlier on. Billy Proctor pops it up to Ratama again. Now Leonard Brown, the All Blacks, just playing a little bit of free-flowing rugby at the moment. It's kicked to behind from Leonard Brown, something that you don't see too often, but it's an awkward bouncing ball. And the Italians, he wanted to leave it. Is it taken back? It's taken back, says Nick Berry. So it will be a 5-metre scrum for New Zealand. The perfect kick from Anton Leonard Brown there, as the ball just didn't want to go into the touchline. We have got there, go kick Anton Leonard Brown. Yeah, he had to take it back at the end. Didn't want to take the risk in that case for Leonardo Madden. How much do you think that the AB's speed and defence has been in this game, ruck speed? Well, how do you think it's been? It was a little bit slow at times, but I think the second half there seems to be drastic improvement compared to the first half. Is there COVID no crowd, says Peter? It's sold out. Like, the only ones who are out of their seats at the moment have probably either gone for a piss or they've gone to get some food. I don't think there's many missing from this. Oh no, they're going goal line dropout. In fact, my apologies. They have said that he was inside of the in-goal area. I mean, he did place that ball down. Good morning, Aaron, says Cameron. Welcome in. Hope you are doing extremely well. A player is being taken off on a spinal board in the stadium and making Sweet Caroline. And making shout-outs to the crowd. Kind of BS needs to stop, says Vinny. A player's being taken off the spinal board in the stadium and playing Sweet Caroline. So what would you rather they do, though? Because I feel like the job of the stadium is to try and distract from the fact that there's a player down injured, if that makes sense. So, like, the best way to do that is to give them something else to talk about. Because or else then everyone sits in silence, and then if you sit in pure silence, then people think he's going to die. Now, big run from Savia, who's just knocked that ball on. Now, all trying to go for the chip behind was Lewis Liner, but they'll go back for the initial advantage. Second half improvement because Italy tiring. Says Gibb there. And also, the red card is a bad deal for both sides, and I want Australia to win, but France are a good team. And also, Jordan could get another 5 or 6 tries this year, plus a whole heap at next year's Rugby World Cup. So he may get to the all-time record of 69 test tries. And I don't mean to be annoying, but I don't watch rugby. What are their chances I can hit under 63.5, please? See, the fact that you say you don't watch rugby and you put $3,000 on this, was that the smartest move as a whole? We over there, Geordie is better at fullback, says Iron Lion. But the chance of it being more is probably quite high because the All Blacks have started scoring a lot more points this second half. Will Jordan beating the OG Doug Howlett. Well, that's awesome, says Johnny Blaze. Xavier has looked like quite good, but Satiti has been average, as I think he is anyway. And I have a problem. Every dollar, it's every dollar to my name. So what? I feel like I could give you a counselling session here, but I would have thought if you put every dollar to your name on a random sport that you don't watch, there's something wrong there, is there not? It's going to be a free kick now to the Italians with 17 minutes remaining. And we have got the bring on Jamie Joseph with Brown. Oh, didn't mean to click that one. And counselling session says ambidextrous. They have kicked that one into touch, but it will be the New Zealand line out. Now, what's the updated score? Score at the moment is 40 points to 17 after 63 minutes. And stick it to them, says Tomo Thompson. Xavier should have been rested for this game, says Eugene. And also, but stop the commentary. But also, Life did a number on us. And I now don't have a PC to do it. Plus, I now do deliver easy in the local area. Oh, so you're doing the hard yards. I've ordered way too much Uber Eats since I got up to where I am. So, like, yeah. You're the unsung heroes, keeping people fed. Now go on right-hand side with Cortez Ratama. It is going to be, in fact, the advantage. Savia moves it on to Ruben Love. Now the cut-out pass to Anton Leonard-Brown. Bit of space opening up on the near side once again. Now Ratama pops it up to Basilio Tossi. Good work, Proctor. I need Billy Proctor to get the tries. These bait clips now. Passes across. Proctor moves it on. Nice delayed pass from McKenzie. One more out to Morby. Can he finish it off? No, 5 metres from the try line there. Proctor wrestling that ball back from the Italian 12, Minincello. Now Ratama searching for this ball. 5 metres out from the try line. Oh, ball thrown backwards. As Cam Roygaard's the one, he is not. So Cortez Ratama has made his way on. Now Tolkiaho, a couple metres out. Who did Leonard Brown replace? I believe he replaced Geordie Barrett. Now Satiti flicks it up to Morby as he knocked it on. The Italians think so, yes is the call. I don't think that was the time to pass for Satiti either, just trying to force it. And I was DE driver. I back milk and cows, says Daniel. Good morning, Amish, says Martin there. I cannot say I'm happy with this All Blacks performance, says Naidu. Well, more we can't finish any tries. They must have scored none in Super Rugby. It's a complete opposite, really. But, yeah, he's had a few try assists, though, since coming into the international scene. Are you going to do Ireland versus Japan? No, that is the one game this weekend that we are taking off. Just to have a little bit of a break and have something to eat. In between the games, Josh Lord needs to come on for the scrum, says JP. Italy played well and the All Blacks playing awesome. No excuses, says John. Okay, Artie Savia. He's going to make his way off the field. This is for Josh Lord. 91% tackle success for Savia today with 10 tackles made. And I'll just do Skinny, says Cool Coyote. Dan Satiti has the weakness, 2 knock-ons and now a forward pass. Says Anthony Ryan, Amish, do you think you can point your screen to a mirror and point the camera to the reflection? Legally, you should be fine. I think they still get you for that. I've seen quite a few different ways that people have tried to get around it. How much time left? 15 minutes. Still remaining. Is Roygaard off? Yes. Roygaard off the field. Ratama on for the final 15. Stephen Varney to put this ball in for the Italians. Pre-engage far side. Oh, okay, so Will Jordan is going to be the captain now for the All Blacks with Artie Savia making his way from the field. And Artie could have come off earlier if he does have an injury. I think he probably should have, but we're going to find out, I guess, throughout the week what type of extent of injury he has. The only thing making the All Blacks look semi-good is the inferior opposition. So yeah, Jason, Italy haven't quite fired in the second half. And like I mentioned earlier on, the mistakes being made from the Italians, it has been costing them. They've made 2 simple errors that have led to 2 tries for New Zealand. That one's going to be booted into touch by the Italians. Nice clearing one from inside of their own 22. 5 minutes remaining of that Niccolo Cannoni red card. I actually forgot that happened. But yeah, they are still playing with 14, the Italians, for 5 more minutes here. Now Tolkiaho with the line-out throw contested by Italy and managed to get the possession. We have only 5 minutes left. Do I have a chance? No, 5 minutes left of the yellow card. There's still another 13 minutes remaining of this game. Being told to use it there for the Italian 9, Varney. One's put down towards the halfway line. Nice chasing there, but Morby takes it well, retreating. Now bounce pass, Billy Proctor out to Anton Leonard-Brown, moves it on to Will Jordan. Ratama again, Basilio Tossi, that was forward, straight in front of the referee as well. Looks like they're just going to let that one slide. And it seems like Ratama is now thinking about the left-hand boot. Will Jordan pops it back onto the side of New Zealand. Almost an interception. Very lucky for Ratama that his pass wasn't stolen. Almost got stolen twice in a row. Now back across. Ruben Love goes to McKenzie. Out to Proctor. Does get tackled on the halfway line. Satiti. Ball still on their side. He had to join that breakdown to try and stop the steal. It's pronounced Dubbo. Okay. Now nice 50-22 attempt, and it does go into touch. New Zealand will now have the line out. Nice kick from Ruben Love. And Love actually does something against 50-22, says Cool Coyote. Why does the All Blacks game plan look exactly the same as 2011-2015 game plan? Says Albert. And 50-22 great kick, says Nutter Boy. We have there, what's a left-hand boot? The boot on his left-hand side. Now, line out. Nicely taken by Tupovai. Oh, Samasoni Tokyo tries a bit of a fly kick, ends up missing the ball. Italy managing to kick it downfield. Now McKenzie. Up to the halfway line. Couple shuffle steps from him. Dragged down by Garbisi. He's made a lot of tackles so far throughout this contest. Satiti pops it off to the left-hand side. Another knock on. And Monticello looking for a 50-22 of his own. Leonard Brown. No, it's Morby who has to retreat. Has a bit of a slip, but now charges down the wing. Tackled by Garbisi again. This time, though, it was Alessandro. Now Ratama from inside of their own 22 here, New Zealand. And they shake to kick it again. And 40-17. Let's stop the match here. 23 points of difference is kind of acceptable, says Claudio. And this is a rugby game or football, someone tell me, says Jack. Which football game have you seen be 40-17? Did both teams decide to play without goalkeepers for that match? 10 minutes still on the clock. We've had a bit of a quieter patch now, ladies and gents. Not as many tries being scored just as of late. Trying to pass out wide to Monticello. Running out of space. Delays his pass. Beautifully done by the Italians, but ball stolen by Ruben Love, or at least he had it for a second, and it's a yellow card for Ruben Love. And he will now go off the field. That is 2 games in a row that man has ended up going to the bin. And it's up with a 50-50 pass. As your second half clock stopped working. No, it's actually way ahead at the moment. It's up to 75 minutes, but we're only 70 minutes through this game. And Morby looks comfortable in the black jersey. Maybe still scoreless in the final quarter. Not good, says Eugene. Yeah, now currently 14-14 for a little bit of time. And 42-17 was my prediction, so I was close. Says Big Rig. Now looking to make the most of the man advantage for the Italians. And I love, says Naidu. Oh. Yeah, so they have said one more defender that was coming across. I think Love's trying to say that he actually ended up catching that ball. But yeah, they ruled it as deliberate knockdown. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, there's something that Italy did before the knock-on. Or the deliberate one. Oh. Okay, so they're going to try and roll this as an Italian knock-on first. So this is going to actually be a non-yellow card, and Ruben Love will be able to go back out on the field. Okay, referee said. So there's a knock-on from Italy first, then Ruben Love's deliberate knockdown. So, I'll tell you what. They've said there was clear separation. There's not a massive clear separation. And in fact, you could argue that he's still got relative control of that ball, Stephen Varney. He's knocked it on into the All Blacks player. I don't think that's the right call at all, but it means that it's not a yellow card anymore. It'll be a scrum feed for New Zealand, and Ruben Love will get to come back out onto the field. He's got a big smile on his face. Ruben Love as well in the crowd, having a big cheer as he gets to make his way back onto the field. I ruined the game, says Hayno. I think the game was possibly gone before that stage, though, I will admit, but Yeah, a weird moment, that is for sure. We have got there. No worries. Next week will be the real test. They've got to the decision in the end. You know what? This is going to be a long match, isn't it? But just looking at the time, it's currently 7 p.m., ladies and gents. Most games will be finished by now. That started at 5:10. But we've still got another 9 minutes remaining on the clock. We have got there no knock on at all. There's a bunch of bad. Game is 0-0 for me now. Says Hanger Rat. Yeah, see, I don't think there was clear separation from Varney, but they were like literally saying, yes, there clearly is, but I'm not sure. Rugby Love getting a try. Most boring match ever, says JP. They've been told to use it. The whole scrum has collapsed. Satiti on the short side. Dropped the ball again, Satiti. It's his third knock on of the day. He's been far from his best in the starting kit for this matchup. And who do we have next week? So New Zealand will be playing up against the Irish, and then the Italians, they will be playing up against the Australians. Great ref decision, says Ant Place. Satiti, third knock on in the full pass, says NZ Riot. If Italy scored, they could have made a comeback, says Hayno. Yes, Savio's awesome, says Ambidextrous. Ambidextrous, I should say. And there's outrageous competitions. And the All Blacks have next weekend. Eden Park, Ireland is the next one coming up. But yeah, 8 minutes from the full-time siren of this matchup, ladies and gentlemen. I actually think there won't be enough time for a review after this game compared to when the next game starts, which might not be a bad thing because there'd be plenty to talk about when it comes to these two sides and what has happened out there on the field today. Now, there is going to be the advantage now at scrum time for the Italians. That is somewhere across the park that they have done extremely well. Nice short ball to Monticello. Pops it back up to Varney. Another advantage, this time going against Cortez Ratama for the side entry. Monticello passes it out wide nicely into the hands of the big man Federico Ruza. Stolen by Morby. They'll go back for the initial penalty. Well, he needs to sort out his handling errors. So he's out of my team, please, says Ball Boy. How many penalties against the All Blacks now? Says Oswald. I think that'll take them up to about 8 penalties or somewhere around there. And how many more minutes? 7 minutes remaining in this contest. I think Italy are just starting to have that conversation. Yeah, it was 8 penalties against them. 7 against the Italians. Says he played too much rugby. And 7 minutes says hang a wrap there too. And here comes the All Blacks, says Kian. Still 57 points total have been scored. The under 63 guy might just win. He might do. And hopefully, if he does, he will learn that that's the last bet that he should ever place. Federico Rosa. A bit of a set play. The ball's gone into touch off the Italians. I'm not actually too sure what's happened there. Seemed like the ball just got slapped out of the hands or just knocked out of the hands, I guess. The 22 dropout sucked, says Gil Coyote. Man, the Irish will be rubbing their hands together watching this All Black, says Hartley. We have got there, if you go to Waimea, you must adapt, says Kiwi Thunder. You have to go back at some stage. Go visit the fam. Ratama. Oh, charge down of his kick. And I think it's now going to be a 22 dropout. Ruben Love charging forward. Thought about going quickly, decides against it in the end. We have got their ref was bought with 2 bottles of duty-free rum. And cannot beat the top rugby nations playing super style rugby, says Naidu. Oh no, they're going back to the goal line dropout now. The ref is having a bad game. And so DT is having a mare. And too many head knocks. Forgotten now to hang on to the ball. Well, he has just come back from that big shot. And although he played all right last week, didn't he? But now, moving forward, it is Vincent. Now, Varney. Was that Vincent? It's Vincent. Oh, no, it was actually the number 16. I was going to say Vincent went off with an injury. At least I thought he did. Now they're kicking behind from Garbisi. Italy have decided why not play some territory while being down by 23 with 5 to go. And do you reckon the Canes team of 26 would beat the Irish? Says Vito Skux. I mean, we're going to see quite a few Canes featuring in that Eden Park test, I would say. Any chance the Fijians, for the English over the Fijians? Probably. I think England aren't actually as bad as everyone's making them out to be. I think they're just in a little bit of a rough patch. We've got to remember, it was only not too long ago that they were on that massive international winning streak. Now Satiti, hitting 10 metres out from the line. And All Blacks are bad. They don't know how to win without the ref on their team, says Mitch. Now Lewis Liner decides against the quick throw. That man has had a non-existent game. Unless, of course, I'm just being harsh. But all I can remember is the one time he touched the ball and dropped it. And then outside of that, maybe had one other moment with ball in hand. And pretty bad right now, Hamish. Says Big Rig. And we have got the have a drink on me, ACDC, says Tomo. And we have got there, Mitch is naughty, had too many brandies, says Naidu. Now the Italians with the ball in hand. Trying to break off the back. Sideways driving tackle from Cortez Ratama. Good morning, Hamish, says Flesh, and welcome in. Oh, what happened there? I think one of the players for Italy looked like he was just trying to run away from the breakdown, and some people thought he had the ball for a second. Now Varney. The Italians would need 2 more tries to receive a bonus point in this scenario. Now Lewis Liner drops the ball. So that's his next touch, and it's also been a knock on. Here comes Segner. It was very evident in the first 5 minutes of the half. From there, has slightly disappeared. Damien McKenzie passes off to the left-hand side. Billy Proctor moves it on to Leonard Brown. Now Morby cuts back in to avoid the touchline. 3 minutes now remaining on the clock. Satiti. Let's get tackled there again. Ratama, big lobby pass out to Leonard Brown. Have we done improve? So everyone wipe the floor with us, says Eugene. And also, changed his mind. Now Ratama, pick and go, finds the gap and finds some acceleration to go with it. Just needed someone else in support. Unfortunately, he went right, Morby went left. Ball's loose, picked up in the back, and now fighting back for it is the Italians who have got the ball back. Oh no, they've called it as offside against Italy for that breakdown. 2 minutes remain, New Zealand. This looks like a quick tap opportunity, although the ball avoids Ruben Love. Our loudest in the room is the weakest. Says Johnny Forbes, but the All Blacks scored next to finish, says Naidu. Huge hiding loading in South Africa, says Shannon. That one's going to be put into touch. 90 seconds remaining now. Everyone talking about some New Zealanders losing against Ireland at Eden Park. I didn't realise that just in the Six Nations 4 months ago, Italy, where'd that go? Italy only lost by 7 points against Ireland, says War Plunder. Time for a Tokiaho try. Maybe he's going to be treated like rag dolls when they show up against the Box team, says Mitch. Now Tokiaho calling for the man on his inside. Doesn't quite get to use him. Bro, please, I thought you ran out of your money. But you're probably going to actually, you need under 63.5, right? Oh. Do you know what I've just realised? We've had 57 points, which means a converted try would be more. So you need New Zealand to score in the corner if they're going to. Anton Leonard Brown. Now back across Ratama, going on to Tokiaho. Ratama again, up to Tupovai. Ruben Love moves it across Proctor, changes the direction of the back line, instead shifts left. Right on Italy, says Blinky. Now Ratama, going on to Josh Lord. Across to, that time it was a Leonard Brown. 30 seconds remaining on the clock. And earlier on holiday, they don't get too much, says Fleshin. Ball's still there for Tokiaho. Pick and go from Josh Lord. Big collision next to the breakdown with the Italian forwards. Lewis Liner wanted the ball. No, in fact, that was Rusa that time. Tatiti told to use it. I don't see New Zealand kicking this ball into touch. I believe they will still go for one last attack here. Ratama pops it up to Basilio Tossi. 10 metres from the try line. Ratama cross to Satiti again. And a well by Juan Inacio Brex. Proctor They've already got 6 tries in this game. New Zealand looking for just one more. Ratama up to Leonard Brown. 5 metres out from the line now for the Kiwis. Ratama looking off to the right. Great hands from Taukiaho. And now Pickingdo Tupavai's over and scores the try to close out this game for New Zealand. City will knock on and under 63 will win. Says Nkabi there. I'd be very worried if I was an All Blacks fan, even if they did well in the second half. When you play the big guns, Ireland, Aussie, Springboks, etc., says Roy Hart. I think a lot of people worry about too much, in a way. You know, like this game, you got to get past your matches that are happening beforehand before you worry about your next opposition. How many times have we seen it where people have been thinking about the long-term picture and then the short-term goes wrong? Like for the All Blacks, they will have nothing in their mind about South Africa, about Australia. They will now be thinking about Ireland because this game has come to a close. But it's also international rugby. It changes every single week. And that's the beauty of it. Sometimes you can go out, have an absolute shocker, and then the next week you look like world champs. That wasn't actually a dig. That sounded like it was a dig towards Eden Park and Wellington last year. But the kick has gone over from Ruben Love. And that now makes the end score in this contest 47 points to 7. And thanks so much for fantastic coverage yet again, says Ambidextrous. And also we have the Boxer going to slap the ABs around 4-0. Scrappy win. Eden Park will fall next week, says Kiwi for life. And we have the AB to Diva. All I've seen is the All Blacks pundits talking box. Says Mike, yeah, the pundits, not the team themselves. You know, they have got to have their firm focus on each and every week here because you also got to remember, second game under a new coach. So, you know, you got to find your rhythm. You got to find what works and what doesn't. All Blacks fans prepare for an embarrassment, says Mitch there. Mitch must have had a multi going or something, did he? We have got to accept purple patch in the third quarter. Not good enough, says Eugene. And we have got there, this is the longest game ever. It took a long time. It was a 2 hour and 1 minute game of rugby between these two sides. And we have got their great charm for the All Blacks. And now we hope the Box will do some work on Scotland today. What's the final score? Final score is 47-17. Will Jordan is going to be the man of the moment. He has now got the record for the most tries in an All Blacks jersey, surpassing Doug Howlett. He has got a few more men ahead of him. About 10 tries away from the next man up. And we have got their, well played Italy. Thanks so much, good man. And to buy a Larkai back in next week, says Nutter Boy. And thank you for the great commentary coverage. Hamish says, Wolf, no worries at all. And we are at the first match of many that we are going to be doing on the channel. The next game is actually kicking off, believe it or not, in 28 minutes' time. And that will be the contest between Australia and the French. So be sure to stay tuned in for that one. After that, we have got Fiji versus England. That will be starting at about midnight. Or no, actually, it's a bit late, about 1 a.m. After that, there is South Africa versus Scotland, and then Argentina versus the Welsh. But thank you all for watching. We will be back starting in 17 minutes' time for the next game. So be sure to tune in for that too. And I will see you all for the next one.